All right. Finally got all those messages out. Sorry, it took me a minute. Been a while since I've had to do this. Hey, what's going on, Estelle? Been a while, been a long while. How have you been? I've been all right. Doing much better, doing much better. Smokey, what's going on, man? Always good to see you. Give me just a second. Let me make sure my stuff is set up. Is my camera on? My camera's not on. One moment. Hope all of you are doing all right. There we go. That looks a little bit better. And playing games. There we go. And let me bring chat back up. Gonshu, what's up? What's going on? Hey, drop it for a few minutes. What's this game about? I've been feeling much better, which is part of the reason why I'm streaming today. You know, sometimes you got to be able to take a step back, touch grass for a little while, and get your mind back on track. But yeah, doing much better. This game is kind of weird to describe, but I guess it's kind of they're basically you control like three different people and they're trying to solve a mystery that has occurred in London, but it's set in a world where there are fantastic creatures about, so like centaurs and minotaurs and creatures of that nature are all around you while you exist in this world. So that made me interested in it. It's actually been a long time desire of mine to be able to play as a minotaur in a video game. This one is set up a lot like Disco Elysium, so combat is light, so it doesn't give me that full Minotaur feel, but it's still interesting. It's still interesting, definitely. Nagaraj, what's going on? How are you? Threed, how are you? What's going on, man? Aha, finally here at the start. Yeah, first time for everything. Loving the newly released game called Power World. I haven't heard about that. What's that one about? Snowman, what's going on? Good to see you, my man. Definitely bring some light back seeing you stream again. Thank you. It's good to be back. Hope the new year's been treating you well. Greg, what's going on, man? I missed you all as well. So good to be back. I definitely plan to get back to streaming on a regular basis. Kunchu, yep, it is a cRPG, and so I'm playing this off of Steam. So let's go ahead and start with a new game. So there's basically three different characters that you can control during this game. You've got the Minotaur character, and then there's a human lady that you can control, and then there's also a dwarf who has a automaton, a little robot that follows him around. So each of them all come with their own personalities, backgrounds, motivations, and they have different skills, different things that they kind of specialize in. But some of those skills, I've played some of this game, some of those skills kind of work out in the same way. You'll see what I mean when we go through it. So I'll probably be saying goodbye to my Urban Shadows character the next session we have. Why is that? It's similar to Pokemon with a mix of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. That does sound interesting. I like both. I used to love Pokemon when I was a kid, and while I've never actually played a Zelda game, they're so heavily critically acclaimed that I can't help but to respect it anytime I see a new one about to come out. All right, so it looks like we start as Atticus Daly. Follow Atticus Daly as he explores the seedy underbelly of London's East Docklands in search of his mother, a reason for living, and his next fix. Okay, so when you start out, you get to choose an archetype selection. So Atticus is a prisoner to the voices in his mind, giving in to his vices, surrendering to base urges, or being forced to reflect on a life gone wrong. Which voice speaks the loudest? The Runic Witch. Is similar to, oh yeah, sounds good. We'll be waiting for the spoiler-free review. Yep. I definitely plan to do a review of this game. Pokemon stream with that'd be amazing. If they ever come out with a Pokemon cRPG, you know I'll be all over it for sure. So you get 4 different options, and it basically decides what does he specialize in. So you can choose to specialize in animal instinct. Blaming his fiery temper on his Minotaur blood, he embraces intimidation and combat, swearing he has handles on his vices. So this gives you a starting bonus to animal instincts, which is exactly what it sounds like. It focuses on brawling and handling things physically. And then spriteness allows you to size up a situation and be aware of your surroundings. And then wit, of course, relies on facts and cerebral labor, so it's going to make you more witty and charming in combat. But really, all of these, I'm sorry, in conversation. But really, all of these play out in conversation because this is a game that's very, very similar to Disco Elysium, for those of you who have played that. So it's very, very conversation heavy. There's very little combat in the game from what I've seen. And even when there is combat, a lot of times your regular skills play into it anyway. Because I used my corruption move several times and I'm only 2 corruption level ups away from having to give up. I'm up to the DM. If I were only a session 2. Typical Threed. Isn't that just Pokemon Mystery Dungeon? No idea what that game is. Oop. Sorry, I could join 3. Looking forward to your thoughts on this one. I'm not sold on it yet from what I've seen. Oh, no problem, Maggie. Yep, I definitely plan to do a review of this game, and you'll be able to see some of it in my live stream as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a full playthrough. It depends on what the response is like from my channel. If this is a game that we're interested in. I know we've been going through the Hereticus run and Rogue Trader, so I haven't really abandoned that. We could absolutely flip back over to that, but I felt like this was unique enough and interesting enough where it's at least worth checking out on the channel. All right, so choosing this also is going to give you a major arcana, the Chariot. So by having the Chariot, you're also going to get a trait. So basically, each tarot card gives you a specific trait that unlocks dialogue options when you're in conversation. So this one unlocks Intimidating, which allows you to assert yourself without lifting a finger, right? So gives you options you otherwise wouldn't have. You can also specialize in sprightness, so obviously it's going to give you more sprightness, still gives you some animal instinct, but also gives you some self-discipline. And if you remember the write-up when we are about to choose him, you could tell that he has issues with indulging in substances, specifically liquor. He loves to drink. And so having high self-discipline or building that up is going to help him to be able to control that. It's going to give him the star card, which allows him to have the charlatan trait. Stealth and deceit are second nature as you fool the world of London, which are cunning and subterfuge. So when I played this on my own, I chose animal instinct. And it was very interesting, but honestly, I ended up kind of regretting that because, again, there's very little combat in the game. And so I didn't feel like I was really playing the Minotaur the way I would want to play one who was depending all on animal instinct. I wanted to be an absolute brute who basically just went around intimidating people or punching them into doing what I wanted. And this isn't really that kind of game, so I didn't really like that. But I don't think I like the way Spry sounds necessarily either, so let's keep going. Oh, and it mentions as a magician, he is trained in escape tricks and sleight of hand. He's light-footed and nimble for a Minotaur, so he does have some capabilities with magic in addition to his physical capabilities. Greetings, Kid, what's going on, man? How are you? So yeah, Minotaur, the top hat. The Minotaur is absolutely what attracted me to this game in the first place. Ever since God of War came out and you could fight in that giant maze where you had to go face a Minotaur boss, I don't know why, but going through that sequence made me want to play a game as a Minotaur. And so I've always wanted to be able to do that. In fact, I think I mentioned that in my Solasta Crown of the Magistar review, that I wanted a game that let me play as a Minotaur. This gives me a taste of it, but it's not the full Minotaur experience that I really want, but it also makes me want to see a sequel to this game to see what they would do with a little bit more money. Yep, typical me, I have zero self-discipline. That's all right, don't ever change, 3. I want to see if choosing the other 2 will alter these archetypes. What do you mean? You only get to choose an archetype once. So once you've chosen it, that's what you have to go through for the entire game. You can increase these attributes by selecting them in the game, but it would be very, very difficult, like to get animal instinct all the way up to the levels of wit if I chose wit. So let's see, rationality suits him in a world that is unforgiving. He meets challenges with a silver tongue and understands basic machinery. And this gives you the hermit, self-reliant. You're well suited to coming up with solutions on your own. I kind of like the idea of that, but no, not quite. Let's see. Self-discipline. He grew up in a crowded orphanage using illusory magic to disguise himself as a human. He moderates his urges and keeps a cool head. So this gives me high self-discipline, little bit of wit, and then low sprightness, very little animal instinct. In fact, no animal instinct. And then we get the High Priestess as the card, and then I've got Illusionist. You've trained in magic to make others see what isn't there. After playing through a good portion of the game, I think I like this one the most to start him with. So, you know, we're gonna try this one instead of Animal Instinct, which is what I did in the first one. And that'll give me a different experience while also hopefully giving me something that's closer to what I think is true to what kind of character he actually is. Man is least himself when he talks in his own person. Give him a mask and he will tell you the truth. A dark shape looms over you. Against the guttering lamplight, the black shadowed form hovers unsteadily like a cutout in a magic lantern. You can't be sure whether it's a real living thing or another grim manifestation from your week-long bender, which at first blush you have appeared to have survived. Or is it the face of death come to claim you? In any case, the specter seems to be in no hurry to move along. Painful memories prick your gin-addled brain. Now you recall why you're here. You chose this alleyway in London's East End to drown the last of your days in drink. Well, if this apparition isn't the angel of death, then even at suicide, you have failed. So not only is this game very similar to Disco Elysium, but I think it kind of starts very similarly as well. Atticus, he's coming. Wake up. Get out of my head, you old crone. Atticus Daly. Nothing but a dark silhouette for a face. No, it's a mask. His voice is cold and mechanical, like the hinge of a heavy iron door, concealing his identity, no doubt. Self-discipline. Try to speak. So sometimes it'll automatically let you just choose a dialogue response based upon a particular skill. And then other times you have to actually roll to succeed at a dialogue response. When you roll, it'll obviously take your base skill value, which in this case is 18, because I started with high self-discipline. And then it's also going to do a dice roll, or in this case for the game, it's actually cards that it uses to add on to the roll you've done. So we rolled a 14 of cups, and that easily, even without that addition, it would have beat the 17 difficulty of this particular skill. The other two, I mean by choosing and reading all three characters. Oh, I see what you're saying. It forces you to start with the Minotaur. So each chapter you play as a different character. So the first chapter we're going to play as the Minotaur, and then over the next two chapters it'll reveal the other two characters, and each time you'll be able to choose a starting archetype that they're locked into. Peter has survived, eh? Yeah. He's going through some things at the beginning of the game. Can you switch to another corner so we can see the dialogue? Ooh, good call out. 1 second. Let me change that over. Oh yeah. Here, whoops. Nope, don't move the whole screen. Move the camera. And probably makes sense to where is that option? Transform. Flip horizontal. There we go. Here, we'll bring it out like maybe right over here. And there we go. Actually, here, we'll put this at the edge over here like this, so it's a little more out the way. All right. Let me know what that needs further changing up. I did get a green screen, but I need to turn my desk around so that I actually have the wall to the back of me, because actually in the back of me right now it's open space. But hopefully this weekend I'll be able to put the green screen over the wall and then turn my desk around, and then it'll look much cleaner. The background removal will be much cleaner, and it'll help how the overall stream looks. But for now, just got to deal with what I have. I become the Joker in that game, by the way. I'm the Oracle. I said all the factions and fighting each other with false prophecies. So I'm sure they're looking forward to getting you up out the game. What's going on, Wanderlust? Got a new shiny to check out. Yep. It's interesting. Much appreciated. Yep, my pleasure, Kit. All right. Who are you? Instead of a response, he proffers me a 10-stippled flask. So this game has got a lot of unique slang to it, where it'll come up similar to like Rogue Trader or even the Pillars of Eternity games, where you can hover over it to see what it actually means. So I'll probably just read it and then mouse over it in case you all need further clarification. Self-reflection, a small kindness. Wave it off. Very well then, suit yourself. Stowing the flask, the stranger leans back into the dim light of the gas lamps. I can finally see his features in full. He wears a brass-button traveling waistcoat, complete with a scarlet hood and a mask of ornate gold panels. It glitters in the gaslight, delicately crafted. Finery, like I've never seen. On your feet now, you sorry sight. So one of the things I really like about this game, even though there is zero voice acting, I think there's one time maybe where you hear a voice, that's about it, and it's just for one brief sequence, and that's it. However, everybody has a portrait, or just about everybody of any importance you meet, they have their own unique portrait, and I really, really like that. I feel like it adds so much in a game that doesn't have voice acting, for at least give the characters unique portrait, so it gives them some sense of individuality. And this game, it's got great art in my opinion, and it's got great portraits for the individual characters that you meet. And because this world is so rooted in fantasy, so again, you're meeting characters of all sorts of different races, it makes seeing these portraits even more cool, because you get an up-close look at the kind of detail the artists have put into the game world. Super, super cool stuff. On your feet now, you sorry sight. Dizzy from the head rush, it's hard to keep my balance. Who are you, and what do you want with me? A friend in need of your services. A friend, but a man of his station, so deep in the docklands, spells trouble. Misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows. I need a moment to get my bearings. Fair enough, but I'll be watching. The stranger pulls back his waistcoat, showing off a gilded flintlock pistol. Over the years, many a minge bag have come to collect. This barmy naff is no different. So many outstanding debts and foregone second chances. Is it all catching up to me? Oh, so this game... No, I refuse. You can't make me. When I decide to. I appreciate you all hitting the like button if you're enjoying the stream. I know I always do a terrible job of reminding people to do that, but absolutely, if you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button. It definitely helps the channel. So similar to Disco Elysium, this game tracks your hope, and that's measured as your health. So if you run out of hope, then you're basically going to be considered dead. So it goes to, I don't remember what the very, very bottom part is called, but he's wary right now, so he only has a 30. It goes all the way up to 100. So I think next is content, then optimistic, and then finally you can get up to hopeful, and that's if you reach 100. So there are a lot of different things that can either lower or increase your hope rating, and oftentimes you can't predict it. So you can't predict that reading something or asking something is going to cause your hope to collapse, but sometimes it can happen in very, very surprising ways that are really cool. I'm very, very impressed with the writing of this game. I feel like it's written in spectacular fashion, and all of the characters are a lot of fun to play with and control. So all that to say, sometimes you'll have dialogue options that require a certain hope rating. So in this case, it's wary or worse. So it seems like you can kind of purposefully play as someone who's despondent and doesn't see any good in the world, and the game will give you dialogue options to basically go deeper down that rabbit hole and play as someone who's essentially kind of given up on life, which is interesting. I don't think I have it in me to play that way, but you know, similar to evil options in certain RPGs, it's nice that it's there, right? So we won't take this, no matter, let it be tonight then, right? So this is an option of basically saying, hey, if I'm about to die, let's just get it over with. Instead, we'll say he can try like all the others, but none have yet succeeded, right? And this gives him a little bit of hope. He's saying, hey, I believe in myself. I want to maintain life, and so I'm not just going to give up like that. Very, very cool stuff. I like it. That's as may be, but if you keep going on this way, it's only a matter of time. Try looking for a way out, perhaps through that padlocked door over there. All right. So then you can press tab, and it'll give you highlight all the things nearby that you could potentially look at or pick up and things of that nature. So, areas of interest: explore the world around you, discover helpful items on your journey. East London hides many secrets, and there's a highlight button. So, Genevieve, rock gut, and dry gin bottles are strewn about, broken and empty. Wager those are remnants of a day drowned in sorrow. Feels like ages ago. So you see, we don't have the self-reliant trait, so it's not going to allow us to pick this option. So instead, I've only got these two available, and we'll go ahead and go with wit. So at any point in time, you can click the character button or hit C, and it will remind you of which of the skills you kind of specialize in at one point. Now, each skill corresponds with a particular humor, and by selecting specific dialogue options, you'll get one additional rank in a particular humor, and if you get 10 of them, it'll allow you to increase one particular skill. So basically, the more you use these skills, the more you increase them. So it's very important, whatever starting archetype you selected, you want to heavily lean into that and keep selecting those dialogue options, because you're really going to need to get them as high as possible to pass some of the higher level checks later on. So we're gonna, whenever possible, we'll probably end up ignoring animal instinct, because it's just never gonna get to a point where we can really, really lean into it heavily. Well, you know what the exhausted bone-tired protagonist says: celebrate apathy or don't, whatever. I actually think it's really cool that the game allows you to play that way. That's another thing that Disco Elysium was fantastic at, right? Like, you really, really could be the despondent guy, hard on his luck, at riding on the edge, you know, barely hanging on type of person. This game, I don't think it does it quite as well, but it's got elements of that, and so I think it's really, really cool. All right, wit, what's left of my stash? Your inner voices are at odds. When you choose one voice over another, this changes the balance of your humors. Over time, these voices become stronger. Exactly. It's worth a closer look. So I could decide to roll to see if I can find what's in, find one of my liquor bottles, but I'm not interested in him leaning further into his dependency. So instead, I'm going to go with self-discipline. I think I've had enough liquor for now. And that's going to give me +1 phlegm, and it's going to allow me to hopefully build more and more self-discipline over time. Probably for the best. But the option actually is still there. So if later on I wanted to go back in there and pick up the liquor, I could. A heavy door that's blocking my escape from the stranger. There's an oxidized chain and a padlock over the hasp, which is a hinged metal plate that fastens a door, fitted with a metal loop for a padlock. Should be a soft job, so long as this lock isn't rusted through. Spryness. Hands are a bit shaky, but let's have a go. Minor trait. To make a skill check, you will draw a card from one of the 4 minor arcana checks. Each arcana decks. Each deck contains cards numbered from 1 to 14. They also contain the world, which will always succeed, and the 4, which will also fail. So basically, in a lot of ways, it's dice rolls, right? Except it's a D14 instead of a D20 that you're used to. But you can still roll a 1, or basically a nat 20, which is essentially the world. And it visually, it gives you something different, but overall, it's kind of got that same feel to it. I listen to the driver pins clicking into place along the shear line, whereupon the plug turns, freeing the hinges. If you're into life simulation games on Android, I'd like to mention Elnia Kingdom. What's that? I'll just set the lock aside. Perhaps a city engineer will come along and put it back again. I wonder, oh, I didn't want to enter yet. I wonder where this passage goes. Away from the strangers enough for me. But with all the commotion, it's possible I left something behind. But of course, the King's Sword, it's around somewhere. Better take it with me. That, and I want to check these stuff. The Illustrated London's News, this week's edition. A fleet-footed journalist takes to the East End, underground and undercover, the hard-boiled scoop on the Cartesian killer. Who's really behind these murders? And what is Scotland Yard still hiding from the public? Read on for the gory details. This story will boil your blood. Wit, ponder the news. Hazards of the job, I suppose. But it's a shame. No one deserves to die like that. Self-discipline, that's true. And I've kept their company before. It could have been an acquaintance of mine. Ariana. Ooh, that's interesting. Oh, I got to tell you how one of my players from game was running kind of a lich, but giving him a grandfather clock. Interesting. All that talk about self-discipline while I'm on my first Red Bull at 5 a.m. At least I have the excuse of being at work. Hey, I'm feeling it too. I ate pizza today and a couple other things I shouldn't have. Today was definitely not a day of self-discipline, so it's hitting me hard as well. But the first time I played this, it didn't say anything about Ariana or his past. So it definitely seems like by leaning into other dialogue options, maybe you'll be able to understand different things about the characters you play as, and that's going to increase the replay value of the game. That's certainly cool. Let's see, what's more? So there's Friday, and then there's wit. Okay, so wit and self-discipline are my biggest strengths. Okay, wit. It's entirely possible. Dolly's being hunted. It's rather curious. Investigate the murders. I'm no police special, but I'll see what I can find. Awesome. And let's go upstairs. I've been intrigued about Sovereign Syndicate for a bit. Let's see if you can convince me to get it. Yeah, let's see if you think it's any good. I'll be interested in your thoughts. You create a character of your choice and get to choose between working as a farmer, soldier, scholar, and knight. Ooh! If you want to become a priest or royalty, you can. I like games that let you get into royalty. Preferably start from the bottom and now you're here, but Rogue Trader was interesting as well. A slatted wooden basket made from hazel cuttings. Willow branches weave around the bottom for support. Why am I up here looking at a basket? Surely I have more important matters to attend to. I can smell the rotting fish from here. Several days past its prime. Lean in. Let's have a look. White strips of flesh swimming in a pool of decomposition. Kippered herring? Self-discipline. Oh, you can always see what is the chance that you'll be able to overcome a particular difficulty when doing a skill check. Self-discipline, open it. Excellent. The acrid smell brings tears to my eyes, but somehow my stomach doesn't empty itself out. Self-discipline, dig through it. Interesting. Whoa! We got the fool, so it automatically failed. In for a penny, in for a pound. Temperament is a representation of your character's mental state, progressive from desperate. Oh, desperate is the bottom version. Wary, content, optimistic, and hopeful. Your choices can change your character's temperament. Certain dialogue choices are only available based on your temperament score. So I don't think reaching at the very bottom like kills you, but it just changes what dialogue options are available to you. But regardless, I want to know what happens when you pass that check, because I wasn't able to do that my first time. So we're going to go back. I do not understand. The words seem to mean something separately, but cannot comprehend how they function as a pair. Or we're all trying to find the answer. To torment you, of course. Kid, I didn't pick it up because I don't know if the first time I did this, I didn't even touch the lock. right? I just went straight over to him to find out what he wanted. And when I broke the lock, it specifically mentioned, hey, you should pick up your sword. So I don't know if that means once I pick up the sword, it's going to trigger something. So I want to touch all these things first and then pick up the sword just in case something happens. And then I'm going to go ahead and touch the lock to see what that triggers as well. All right, now we've done this. And for a penny and for a pound. Tossing the congealed skin onto the street, I land on something round and flat with milled edges. And it's not just the one. Ooh, a couple of coins and some spoiled herring. I should probably bathe at the earliest opportunity. Nice. That's awesome. Rob, what's going on, man? How are you? Hope you're doing well. I honestly bought this game immediately, although I'm still in the playthrough of Divinity Original Sin 2. Knowing Disco Elysium and the price of the game itself, it was an instant buy. Yeah, Disco Elysium definitely gave me a lot of faith in this game as well, because obviously it has strong ties to it. Did not even bug you on Discord as of late. Yeah, I'm feeling better, Rob. Thanks. Yeah, I'm ready to get back into the swing of things. I miss you guys anyway. That's a good reason. Thank you, kid. Yep, it was only partially to torment you. An evening cane concealing a steel blade in a cherry wood sheath. Below the brass figurehead is a band of crushed velvet. Velvet is an uneven, wrinkled yet lustrous surface produced by either pressing the fabric in different directions or by mechanically twisting it while wet. Battle scarred with a well-worn handle. And suitable in aristocratic circles. Take the cane with you. Really keep better track of my belongings, even on a gin bender. All right. Here, I want to hit everything else first, and then we're going to hit that lock and see what happens. Last night's hard to recall. Bodily aches suggest they threw me out around closing time. Mechanical odds and ends shimmering in the gaslight. Worth a little 10 if you deal him to an engine man, an engineer. Gather the gears. Might prove useful. Military grade reinforced with barbed wire. The sign reads, Werewolf Containment Zone in luminescent paint. Electric bolts arc between the fence posts. The smoky ozone scent flooding your nostrils. The moon won't be full for another 2 nights. It might be safer inside instead of at the whim of this stranger in his brocade waistcoat. Oh, see, because we're wary, we could just charge into the fence and allow ourselves to be electrocuted if we wanted to. But no, wit, no harm in a look. Go. Cane sword. Wearing Canehurst now from Bloodborne. I never played Bloodborne, even though I keep hearing about it. Supposedly it's amazing. Silk wrapped cables running into a switch box. That must be the power source. I'm no engineer, but I might be able to power down the fence from that switch box over to my left. A battered metal switch box secured by a chain and padlock. Sprightness, let's crack the padlock. Ooh. Last time we failed. When I played this on my own, I failed. The driver pin slide into alignment, unlooping the chain. I can now open the panel door. Now just cut the power and hop the fence. That'll put some anchors between me and the stranger. It's 4 meters high with voltage running through the razor coils. Bit risky. Can't be that hard to cut the current. Pull the red wire, eh? Uh-oh. 23, we need 8 at least. Ooh, temperament. Yeah, we already went through that. A sharp shock runs down my finger, burning through my center before petering off into nothing. No. I actually want to try that again, because I'm curious what happens. This is not going to be a save scumming playthrough. Only when there's the potential to do something I haven't seen before, or something that I feel like would be cool, we'll be redoing things again. And I'm curious, can you actually use this as a way to avoid him? There we go. Okay. Pull the red wire. I tear out the red wire, but nothing seems to happen. Oh, I have to come back with someone who knows circuitry. Okay, so that's not an option. Oh, well. Twice now. This is becoming a bad habit. It's not going to be a habit. It's not going to be a habit. Julie and Bertram O'Brien, orphans missing from Sacred Heart Orphanage. Small reward furnished upon any information leading to their safe return. Please have a heart for our poor children. The Sisters of the Sacred Heart, 22 Cherry Wine Lane, East End, London. Alms accepted. I remember this place. Wit, but I'd rather not talk about it. A brother and sister gone missing from where I was brought up. Self-discipline. Being an orphan myself, should I be the one to investigate? There are unsettled spirits in the docklands, and like it or not, I play a part in their pageantry. Hopefully not as some marionette with strings to pull for their amusement. Then I should leave no cobble unturned. Search for the missing orphans. Something's not right here, and orphans in the docklands need all the help they can get. The red wire was a red herring. It became a habit. It's not going to be a habit. See, next time we fail, I'm going to just have to let it ride regardless. 3 rootless souls taking their ease in the heat of a steam vent, one of the few free comforts to be had in old London town. This one is Poe Pickett, drifts around the city so much it's hard not to know him. Might not remember me, though. Balderdam! Dash, that landlord. Bloody meter refused to fix the heat in my abode. Them mutton shutters cast me out on the bricks like flicking an ant off a sleeve. The unfortunate's companions huddle for warmth, their tattered garments splashed with ale stains. These men are dusty, perpetually so. Not that I miss the old quarters, no. With the endless boiler double troubles, it was not much warmer in there than out here. He looks at me askance. Wager his mood still needs thawing. Oi, horns! If you're not handing out hot meals, bugger off. Talking takes thinking, and I ain't got a lot of that to spare, in case you didn't notice. Well, isn't he a joy to talk with? All right, and now we're back over here. So I think there's more back here. Let's just make sure. Yep, some gears and cogs. The gears might prove useful. And there's an underground station. It's the witching hour, so of course the trains aren't running. No escape from the stranger this way. Some wayward cartwright abandoned their wagon here. Beyond it, tenements and a dead end. He's got me hemmed in. All right, now let's try that door and see if we can go out. I'm pretty sure we've explored everything we can over here. Boom. Boom. Enter warehouse. Let's see if that's possible. Hey, it does let you go in. Okay. The passage is lined with stone walls, damp from the evening fog, and the underground steam boiler used to heat the tenements above. Barrels line the walls and seem to occupy every available space in this underground storeroom. Cane rats scurry and squeak in the corners, kneading at their nest. They are stagnant, full of dust and mold. A ways off, there's a sound of a pump house at work, no doubt channeling sewage into the Thames. There's a dim light ahead. Perhaps you could find help, or at least a way out of the stranger's grasp. Whoa, on your guard now. No telling what's down here. I've seen the worst of the underground in my days. If trouble comes, I've got my blade and a silver tongue. Ugh, Minotaur. Just woke up. What's going on, Karma? How are you? 4 a.m. is to discover you're living. Hope that you won't be too offended if I turn the screen off. Just chill to the sounds here. Thanks for your work. Yep, not offended at all. by all means, do what you do. Good to see you, as always. We all have a face that we hide away forever, and we take them out and show ourselves when everyone is gone. Some are satin, some are steel, some are silk, some are leather. They're the poor face of a stranger, but we love to try them on. Where's that from? What was this game? What's going on, Jovi? This is Sovereign Syndicate. It just came out yesterday. Figured I'd give it a whirl. I really like it thus far. It's very similar to Disco Elysium if you played that. It's 10:33 p.m. for me. That's what it is for me as well. Silver Blade might be more useful than a Silver Tongue with werewolves about. This is true, but he said there's not a full moon yet. Sleeping Thug. A 30-some man writhing on the cobbles must have had his fill. If he was on guard, easy now to get by him, or bash his head in. Might be safer that way. Wit, but he's only sugared beyond reason. Besides, maybe I know him. What does sugared mean? Drunk, right? Okay. Can't remember his face, but that's one thundering night terror he's having. Anything in his pockets? So we could use spryness and go ahead and try it, but I'm more interested in self-discipline. On second thought, I've been there. Wouldn't want my pockets picked while I'm sleeping off a bender. Thievery doesn't suit me anymore. There's bound to be something else nearby, free for the taking. Red cellar paneled and cornered with iron, a sturdy but time-worn container. No need to break into everything. What am I, Minotaur or Magpie? Wit, rooting in rubbish with hopes for a little tin, just like my scavenging days. Diamonds in the coal and flash in the cobbles. That's the old limerick the urchins would sing. The only sounds are the dripping pipes, the scurrying of rats, and the gears in your skull spinning out the past. Christ on a high wheel, would you open the box already? We'll try. Animal instinct, break into the coffer. Hey, look at that, it worked. Bully, that felt right. It's been too long since I broke something. And there's only that gin-bibber who might have heard the noise, but he's too blotto to pay us any mind. And what great treasure is this? Trousers with a bib sewn across and a pulley zipper fastening. The head torch runs on a copper coil battery. There's boots and breeches. The waistcoat has enough pockets to carry a dining set. To be sure, it's a sandhog uniform. Construction worker in the underground tunnels. That's interesting. Try it on. So what if I tear the seams? It's not like someone's missing this pile of rags. The shoulder flaps will have to hang loose, my chest being too wide to snap the buttons down the placket. Self-discipline. Force it. Awesome. The Stranger by Billy Joel. I know a lot of 70s, 80s music. I was reminded by the old Man Stranger thing. That's awesome. Just gotta force it. Emptying my lungs, I abandoned the brass buttons, reaching instead for the torso belts. They fasten at the very last punch hole. This could be a sign to lay off the swell for a while. So another cool thing about this game, as you change outfits, the portraits change as well. So you notice the portrait in the lower left has changed to a more uniform outfit as opposed to the top hat he had before. And that's consistent with all the characters. If you switch outfits, which doesn't happen very often because this isn't a game where you like equip armor or anything like that, but still, when it does happen, it's really cool stuff. Self-discipline. Aye, maybe so. The source of many troubles. But if I quit outright, I'll keel over. Better start with one less drink a day. Self-discipline, accept. Ooh, so now my self-discipline has increased to level 19, and I've got a quest, task, cut back on your drinking. I never unlocked this in my original game. This is super, super cool. This is already way, way different than what my first playthrough was like. We don't know that the portrait trains because that's where your camera is, so you don't obscure the dialogue. Oh, isn't that nice? Well, you can see the portrait here, though. The portrait comes up when you have the dialogue, so you can see here he's got the mask on and all that. Actually, no idea if that's true. You just said lower left, and I assume. Yeah, the portrait is in lower left, but it pops up during the conversation. So you can see he's got the headlight and the mask now instead of the top hat and the more aristocrat-looking outfit. So animal instinct is what I was focused on my first playthrough, and that's all about punching people, drinking, brawling, all that kind of stuff. So this road of self-discipline is definitely different. And looks like it's giving me different quests too. Super cool stuff. The naysayers will gab as they please, but I'm ready to change. That's enough mandering. Get on with it. Not exactly worthy of Petticoat Lane, but in the shadows, you should do the trick. All right, awesome. Cover. A disc of wrought iron, loosened by a crack. Could be somebody's hiding place. Aye, but the cover's bull heavy. I could choose my animal instinct, or better off finding a tool to get this open. All right, I'm going to choose that because my animal instinct is low anyway, so it's doubtful I'd be able to just pull it up. Spare bits and bobs from our clockwork engine. So the gears are littered all throughout the game world, and we can sell them later on. A length of braided horsehair, stale and hardly salable. I can use this to get the manhole cover off. Oh, interesting. It's in a bad state, but it might work with a proper tie. It's brittle, but it should do the trick. Okay. In the first game, because I had high animal handling, I just pulled it straight up. A battering crate, molding in a sewer grind. Glad I have this mask on. It should keep out the dust. Animal instinct. Smash it open. Oh yeah, it's a difficulty of 20. Very unlikely I would get that. Why does it keep coming out telling me about temperament? I know. -5. A well-aimed fist cracks open the crate, but a hobnail gashes my wrist on the way out. It's only a scratch. I'll mend it in no time. Let's have a look. Here's something with a dull shine to it. It's a pry bar. This'll do for that manhole cover. Awesome. All right, I've got a tool to open this. It's a heavy bugger, even with a tool. Sprightness. How about the pry bar? Should get the cover off. Awesome. Bully. That steel bar was a ticket. Just need a little leverage. There's a latch compartment below the manhole cover, but it's padlocked too tightly to break. That's a capital lock. I'll need a key. Keep looking. There has to be something here. My fumbling hands come up empty. How about I reach back in the corners? Stone the crows. Bloody cane right bit me. Must have a nest. Self-discipline. No chance that rat's getting the best of me. Steeling myself, I reach inside again. So sometimes in situations like this, where there's a sequence of actions or events happening, you'll get this more cinematic view where it shows you panels walking through everything that occurs. This especially happens in a combat sequence, which again is rare in this game, but they try to put in a little bit more effort to make it interesting. Bully, it's a £1 banknote. At last, a bit of fortune. It's torn, but it'll do. I saw the rat bite coming a mile away. You know it. Anytime you gotta reach into a corner that you can't really see, watch it. There's somebody on the stairs. With that head torch, he could be on patrol. I don't suppose he takes kindly to trespassers. His brightness. He's coming double quick. Where can I hide? There's a pool of shadow at the back of this hallway. Oh, you would have to have Charlatan if you wanted to see if you could hide straight up, but I can't, so I'll have to fight him. Animal instinct. I'll fight him if I have to. His uniform is stricken with unspeakable filth, and even with my goggles on, his head torch is blinding. He smells worse than the sewer walls. Must be a bilgeman. Hey, oh, Sandhog. Presumption in his tone. Does he not care for sandhogs? I won't take it personally. I'm not a sandhog anyway. What's that, eh, Sandy? They got all sorts of weird derogatory terms for different things in the game. It's actually pretty cool. Mumbling to yourself? Did I say that out loud? At least he hasn't noticed my ill-fitting uniform. What are you doing this side of the tunnel? Shouldn't you have your head in a hole somewhere? Better lie. It's safer. I'm down here on official Sandhog business. You wouldn't crib. With a toss of his head, he laughs into his breathing tube, and the light from his head torch glances off the cobbles. Sorry there, Cove. I'm whooping at your expense. But it's just so difficult to imagine a sand pig with a delegation of duties. Drill there, drill bit here. Simple, isn't it? Maybe we got off on the wrong foot. You know, I'm curious about sewer work. Do you have time for a rundown? That's queer. I've never known a Sandy so curious. You sure you're a tunnel rat? Self-discipline. All right, you got me. I'm no sandhog, but you don't frighten me. I'm running from someone much more dangerous. You don't know the first thing about danger. Trespassing down sewer as if you own the place. I'm calling the hounds in, unless you turn tail like 60 right about now. That wasn't the reaction I'd hoped for, but I suppose the fickle truth can fail and a dire course of action is warranted. Interesting. Raz, what's going on? How are you? Hey, I've had this game on radar for a while now. I got promoted on the Shadowrun Reddit. Oh, really? What's going on, RM? Yeah, I've had my eye on it as well. I really like games that mix these fantasy elements and allow you to play as really cool, interesting creatures. So, starting off as a Minotaur, I'm definitely feeling it. Before you get hot-headed, take a look at this. Ooh, Chariot. The character has gained the intimidating trait and will now be able to select dialogue options that require this trait. So if you remember when we could select archetypes, you had the option to select an archetype that will automatically give you the intimidating trait. We didn't do that, but it is possible based on your dialogue options throughout the game for you to unlock different cards and different traits that go along with them, which we have now just done. Point me out of this cesspool, just a finger in the right direction. My blade harkens blood should he try anything smart. All right, if you follow this passage, it's great that needs refastening. Been meaning to fix it, but aside from the way you came, I swear it's the only exit. At last, a decent answer from a less than decent man. Sure as sight. Sorry I stopped you. I'll just have to squeeze by, I suppose. Be seeing you. See the Shadowrun link, even if it's gas punk instead of steampunk. Yep, it's still that same blend of fantasy elements and sci-fi. Yep, it feels very similar to both. Mechanically, it feels similar to Disco Elysium, but as far as like the world setup, it feels very similar to Shadowrun. And in both cases, I feel like those are positive comparisons, right? Those are good games to be compared to. A brass banded traveling trunk with sturdy corners, fit for a long voyage. It's out of place down here. There's tin inside, I'm sure of it. But the padlock has a carbon steel shackle and pin tumblers triple reinforced. This is probably easier, right? Hey, easy skill check. Try opening it with the pry bar. What's this? Bottle of gin I've yet to try? The fates have been kind for once. Especially kind, for they also provided me with lots of capital. And a few cigarettes to round out the package. Bully, It's not every day you get this stuff for free. You know, I collected a bunch of cigarettes and I haven't figured out a use for them once. Made me feel like I must be missing something. Take there. Speak up. Who disrupts the air? Sandhog business. Please clear the way. Believe me, I wouldn't hold you back. It's nice to know another workman. Then you must know the operations down here. It's about those barrels along the walls. No doubt they're being used for smuggling. Of course I know what's going on, but since you were so slapdash to bring it up, I need to make sure you haven't been peaching. Is that stealing? Yeah, or informing on, squealing. Oh, that's right, and Fly. The name's Hare if it helps. File any report you might need. I'm built to improve. The letters Hare are emblazoned on his chest plate. Ask about the fire. Keeping the fire stoked, I see. Do you enjoy it? I delight in my work. I was made for it, and this boiler provides heat for the Sherlock tenements upstairs. As a Sandhog yourself, you must know the reward of providing a service for the masses. Ask about the acronym. What do the letters stand for? Heat Energy Regulation Automaton, the latest iteration. Hera, wife of Zeus. In any case, it suits you. I'm thrilled to hear it. Now, can I help you? I should get back to the flame. Press for information. You were saying about the operations down here? Oh, well, the barrels you see along the walls are all full of gin. The hounds are distilling it with the heat from my boiler, and somehow the Sherlock tenements upstairs haven't caught on. Those people must be freezing. It's only autumn now, but it feels like midwinter. I'd rather have the extra gin. Brings down the price, and we can always deal with a little cold. Interesting that it doesn't give me any sort of alternative option here, because that's definitely not consistent with how I want to roleplay it. A lot of my ilk came up from those tenements. I couldn't face the dog hounds alone. It's hard enough keeping my own head above water. Aye, they won't be easily swayed. Bootlegging is a regular tin press. Ask about the barrels. What else do you know about the gin barrels? The steam gets siphoned and the barrels come and go. Some are fresh and some have stood for several months, ready for a swiller. About a drinking. The machine is keeping track. Automatic circuits indeed. When the flame is healthy, I turn my attention to the walls, and before I know it, I'm whirring away. It's a queer feeling. If the hounds are stealing steam, then there's good reason to steal some of their bootleg for myself. I'm not fit with a virtue circuit, but if you convince yourself, you're clear of any moral infidelity. Take those off you smoking one right now, right this moment. Where would I find a barrel that's aged a few months? Behind the furnace, there's something of a staging area. That's where the barrels get carried out. Have a look for yourself, but I must get back to work. All right, that's all right. Oh, wait. Barrel of moonshine. A barrel like any other, standing upright. Looks ready for shipping. Tempting, but I was thinking of cutting back. It beggars belief. I promised. So consider this the one less drink. But after this, I'm good to go. Ooh, task completed. Cut back on your drinking. That's awesome. Embers burning fiercely, as if by the jewel-bright core of every flame on earth. Hot coals banked with an unsurpassed dexterity, errors all but eliminated. Nothing to do here but stare at the flames. Pretty chill dude for a heat energy robot. Fun to talk with. Tiger bright flames in the brass-bellied furnace, dying and living, and dying and being reborn. Keep staring. A small fire, yet a microcosm of ever-burning, ever-changing oblivion. Keep staring. Sweltering temperature in the heart of the fire, a deadly dance that's hard to look away from. Keep staring. The heat bellows out, and my face is sweating now, eyes half-lidded and glazed. Keep staring. Here is a glimpse of the end for so many, eternal pain for those who believe in it, or for the lost ones who believe in nothing. Seems like the furnace has opinions of its own. Animal instinct keeps staring. And doing so hits your hope. It's wonderful, but I'd better stop before I damage what little sight I have. All right, now we go into the sewers. This is so interesting, completely different from what I experienced the first time I played. Edging through the grate, you're greeted by the droning sound of rushing water and a smell that's near unbearable, hanging in the air so thick you can almost taste it. Hooves are clumsy in the dark as you stumble along the passageway, the sound of water flow and machinery echoing off the bricks from all directions, a meshing of gears that's familiar but unsettling. Following the light, you come into a torchlit chamber, but it seems you're not alone. Notes of troubled voices peek over the noise, an air of indignance and irritation, but also of fear and desperation. Something's not right here. You stumbled on an argument, no doubt, but worse than that is a deep foreboding. Something else shares these sewers, a deeper evil crawling through the bowels of London. I was like gonna be so annoyed if there's some sort of event triggered by staring too long. Oh, hi dear. Yes, please put my dinner in the fridge. I'd appreciate it. Hope you had fun at your dinner party. Yeah, those staring events they always trigger something. Sewers. Seems like something might happen here. Want to make sure I'm prepared properly. Oh, somebody's here. A welter of bricks and rotten planks blocking the way through. Come back with an axe. That'll do the trick. I've run into more daunting obstacles. Just have to give this a wide berth. And gives you more hope. Man. Flask. Oh, that's the argument. Who are those people arguing, I wonder? Oh, I can't get through there. Oh, okay. No problem. And there's nothing to get over there anyway. What is this about? Alright, so I run into you first. Who are you? A patrolman up ahead. Don't flex a muscle. Who's that creeping in the shadow light? State your business. A cyclops with a pike spade. Standard issue for sewer work. Oi, Sandhog, what's your business here? He's full of piss and vinegar, but also full of poppycock. I'll wager his authority is a claim and nothing more. Already have the stranger to worry about. Am I up to challenging this lanky bloke as well? What's my number one? Self-discipline, then wit. All right, so let's try wit. Wit, lie. There we go. Good night. Take care, darling. Have a good night. Tunnel work. Nothing of import. Well, I'm the pump house captain, and this chamber's in my bailiwick, so be more specific. Excellent delivery, but he's just not buying it. Better try an honest approach. I can't lie. I'm not really a sandhog. Well, even so, if you're creeping about down here, then I must have your name and citizen number. Give him a false name. That'd shake the heat. Then again, what's another mark on my record? It's not like I ever pay the fines. Self-discipline. Atticus Daily, CN 230127. We'll be in touch with a proper citation. Apparently this bloke's a grandee. Better get some answers while I can. Wit. Ask about the argument. Understood, Captain. How about that scuffle down below? Well, the tall fellow holds weight with the hounds. I shouldn't like to interfere. Sprightness, ask for the way out. Surely there's a way out. Perhaps towards the pump house. I don't know why blood increases sprightness, or frankly, why phlegm increases self-discipline. I'm sure there's a method to that madness somewhere, but just to be completely honest, I do find those connections to be a little confusing. Off limits. Besides, she's locked down for maintenance. If I were you, I'd head up street side before the morning doves. Right then, Captain. I'll just be on my way. The pump house captain breathes a sigh of relief, eager to get back to his patrol. Anything in here? Ooh, whoa. Through the hall is a chorus of machinery. The torpid crank of some heavy clockwork, the chittering of a telegraph, and the ever-present rumble of steam in the walls. The archway is fit with a blast door that's been left open, a control room for the pump house, no doubt. Respectfully, Sandhog, got a deal of maintenance on my hands. He has a grizzled face and a world-weary slump to his shoulders, yet there's still a spark in his eyes. I better make a decent impression out the gate, or he might not spare me any time. Ooh, look at that, my first intimidating option. So with this, I don't even have to roll, it's just a trait, and it gives you the ability to do things otherwise you wouldn't be able to do. For some reason, I haven't unlocked the self-reliant talent yet, which I feel like I should have, considering all the self-discipline options I've been taking, but whatever. But if I did, I can match wit and self-reliant to just apologize for barging in. But that's not an option, so we'll see if we can frighten him to his core. You'll tell me what I need to know, or I'll cut you in half and string you up for all the sewers to see. Woo! That's a threat. Are you saying you're a swordsman? As it happens, I have a fear of sharp objects. That's right, mate. But I won't have to cut you if you answer my questions. Well, in that case, go right ahead. Nice. Ask about the barrels. In the old theory of humorism, each of the four humans is associated with a different set of personality traits. I'll ram it in a few consecutive posts. So, humorism is a theory. Blood was associated with sanguine traits, enthusiastic, active, social. Yellow bile was associated with choleric traits, ambitious, decisive, aggressive, short-tempered. So this is all based on something in the real world. This isn't some stuff they made up from scratch. I caught more than a few whiffs of liquor on my way down. What is it? Bootleg in the barrels? Black bile was associated with melancholic traits, mostly depression and apathy. Yep, it's an old medical theory dating back to ancient Greece. Oh, I'm glad I asked. Definitely did not realize that. That's an idea. See now, what's your name? I smell an opening and some wassailing to boot. Atticus Daly, pleased to meet you. And I'm John Teller. Say, I've got it figured. Minotaurs have keen noses, so you must have sniffed out the liquor in my locker. Same as what's in the barrels. Fetch us a few bottles then. I'll finish my readings and we'll have a drink. Sounds like we're plunging into a pool of fire water. A wooden locker with steel dowels and bolts embossed with the seal of the Senior Service. Senior, Her Majesty's Naval Service. And apparently chock full of bottles. Go on, he offered you a drink. It'd be rude to refuse. Let's see if this liquor's any good. It's packed to the gills. So wait, we're supposed to be weaning ourselves off of it, but I don't want to be rude to him. If I drink with him, he might give me more information. I could use a drink. And I get Gin Collector. The sewer stench is muddling my thoughts and I need some clarity. Besides, a few sips with the engineer should get him talking. Go. Yeah. The old theory stated most illnesses were caused by imbalances in the humors, which led to a lot of terrible malpractice involving leeches and infusions. Very, very interesting. Wow, that makes the progressive system in this game even more interesting. I'm going to have to look into that further. There's a good man. Let's have a taste. Wit, have a drink. To your health, Teller. Yep, didn't see this scene at all. What do you think then? The flavor's ripe. A banquet for the senses. That's the spirit. Wit, let's have another. I'll be damned. That's quite good. We're of a piece then. Got this purity from a ramshackle distillery. Coppers keep busting them up before anyone can hold it down. If I gush about the gin too much, then he might start yattering about the distillation process. I'm still going to take the wit option. It's beyond wonderful. Only medicine that ever did me any good. I've been watching how the hounds are doing it. When work's slow, the pump house captain and I have a couple drinks, and I marvel at the vats in the pump house. There's a dreamy glow in his eyes. With the 10 and gumption, I'd leave these dials to some other man. If I had my own stills, I'd mix up liquor mothers use to feed babes. A dream's only a dream till you follow it, eh? You'll do it someday. Ah, the allure of ambition. Still, pride can make a man fiendish. Now then, want to hear about that ladsman? Ladsman. Criminal teaching children how to steal in exchange for a cut of profits and or assistance such as safe lodging. He's referring to the crawl down below. What's there to tell? Well, she's a cut purse. What's supposed to be his charge? Now she wants out, but the bastard is full of demons. Not only is he a landsman, but he's also the front man for the bootlegging down here. What else do you know about him? I've got his name, Carlisle McGrady. He puts it on bottles for promotion, but I imagine McGrady is a handle. McGrady sounds familiar, but I can't quite place it. Want to know his blackest secret? What secret? Starts with the Sherlock tenements. As if being built over sewerway weren't enough, they've had steam siphoned out of their boilers courtesy of the hounds. Reminds me of the orphanage. We used to burn the bedposts when the cold set in. Making moonshine takes a deal of steam. No wonder the tenants are fuming. Hot water running thin, radiators shot through on cold nights. Stolen steam does sound like the work of dock hounds. Princess, what's going on? How are you? Just a minute. You ain't no copper's narc, is you? Is that a snitch? Yeah, police informant. He looks rather serious, like the gin is wearing off. On the contrary, I'm a proper stool pigeon. Hey, wait, what does that mean? What does stool pigeon mean? I can't remember though. What does spryness mean? His favorite silence, beware of rushing in. So, proper stool pigeon. Let's try that. Police it, God dog it. I didn't realize that. Wait, so how does that make sense? Why is it if I choose the spryness is in favor of silence, beware of rushing in before you know of other people's intentions. Leverage your street smarts for deception. So why would I just admit that I'm a stool pigeon? A stool pigeon partial to bootleg. Part of the ruse. Got you to trust me, right? What? If I'd like to retain any credibility here, I should cut the bluffery. All right, I'm no copper's narc, but I've been offered the job in the past. Really? And you declined? Oh, okay, so this all works out in the end. That was weird. It seems like I should just went straight for deception, but I don't know, maybe going in and out makes it easier? Interesting. I'm trying not to get hypothermia. These warehouses are so damn cold. It has been a cold week in Chicago. Like, man. And I had to travel out on Sunday, go way out to a place where they don't ice the roads, de-ice the roads all that well. Not pleasant. Not pleasant at all. Fuming was the best synonym from angry to use there. Probably right, because I'm a little confused about how that proceeded. I hated coppers back then, but I've since grown privy to the inner dealings of the hounds, so I'm sure to be a boon to the Scotland Yard. Stop the dock hounds, you'd have to get rid of Molly. That'd be a hair-raising way to get your name up. Pick a side, policeman or criminal. Become an informant. Stay as you are. Well, informant? No, he's not. Stay as you are. I'll pass. That's not who I am. I shouldn't be thrill-seeking when the stranger's waiting for him. One more question. That crank atop the stairs, what's it for? Controls a sluice gate, raising and lowering water down below. But that peaky bastard always jams up. Good thing I won't need it until the pump house is operational in there. Move along. Well, Mr. Teller, I've kept you long enough. Don't tell anyone I gave you a free sample. Meters and levers agleam in the torchlight. Let's see if I can't get this moving. It's 6 degrees right now where I am. It's going to drop to near 30 before the end of the month here. Woo! I'm not a fan of winter. Really not. I know that might sound strange considering I'm over here in Illinois, but nope, not a fan. A wooden handle attached to a cylindrical crank. The engineer said he won't be using it for a while. Why don't we give it a whirl? Try it. Wonder what it does. Let's give it a turn. No go. It's catching on some unseen sprocket. Animal instinct. I can force. Ooh, 38% chance. Let's not break this. It could be important. We'll have the opportunity to come back at a later time and deal with it. What's this before I go downstairs? A barrel perches on a ledge while the argument rages. I can hide up here and watch the dispute. Eavesdrop. Let's have a listen. You'll pad me pockets until I say die. It's like the engineer said. This bloke is a ladsman and she's a cut purse, but she doesn't seem keen on staying that way. I'm sick of stealing and I'm sore of begging all the more. It's shameless. Doesn't seem like a fair fight. She might come to harm if I don't step in. Self-discipline. Go down there and break it up. I'm too far away to be of service from up here. Better head downstairs. I just got out of a -50 with the wind chill. Prodigal, what's going on, man? How are you? Like a third of cars in the city stopped working. I feel, whoo. Yeah, it's just rough times. Spring cannot come soon enough. I'm not a fan of snow. I'm not a fan of cold. I'm not a fan of crazy wind. I'm not a fan of really anything regarding winter. I'm not even a fan of white Christmas. Like, save the snow at all times, please. I'm in Alaska, so I favor colder weathers. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like I would hate to be someplace where it's cold all the freaking time. Oh, Illinois, I grew up there. Oh, that's awesome. No, I'm back in Louisiana ever since high school. You're probably one of the only people I ever talked to who know where Madden and Effingham are. Where I lived from 87 to 94. Yep, I'm very familiar with Madison. I'm so happy to come back to German winter after 2 weeks in Bangkok. I'm not made for that kind of heat. Yeah, you people who love the cold, I just don't understand it. Don't understand it. Stopped being a fan of snow when I was in grade school, standing knee deep in it, waiting for the bus. Yep, that'll do it. I hate having to clean off my car every time I want to go someplace. So annoying. So annoying. They're still arguing, but move any further and they'll notice me. There's a door just beyond where they're standing. That'd be one way to escape this ruddy mess. I'll have to face him sooner or later. He looks ready for a fight. Self-discipline. I'll wait for the right moment. No need to flash the steel if I don't have to. How about an inside tip? You know I'm in well with the oddsmen. Keep your crooked tips. You were supposed to shelter us, pay us, and protect us. But I wager there's a future for me beyond London. The only way you'll leave London is in bits and pieces, floating down the Thames. She flashes her eyes at me. Some kind of signal? I could try for a clean cut between the shoulder blades, but what if he's quicker on his feet than he looks? Self-discipline. Settle this with words. He's in evil trouble, but he doesn't have to die. Oi, you there. It's a sand pig doing down this way. Clear out. Due to me being a born native of Alaska, I'm built for temps dropping to -70. Is that how cold it actually gets in Alaska? I've always wondered if Alaska gets colder than Chicago. I wasn't sure. I know it's constantly cold, but I didn't know how bitter the colds actually get. Good, man, busy, finishing the semester strong. Degree is going well. That's fantastic. Glad to hear it, man. Glad to hear you accomplishing the things you set out to do. That's awesome. Animal instinct. Lay off the girl. Otherwise, I'll shatter your kneecaps and fix you with a bath chair. Man, I really, really want to unlock self-reliance because it seems like I'm missing out on some great options by not having that. But at least this worked because we only had a 50-50 chance to hit that. Oh, what's a bath chair? A rolling chaise with a folding hood, used especially by the disabled. Well, as it happens, I have business to attend to. Now scuttle off before we take turns breaking one rib at a time. You haven't seen the last of me, Kamai, a homeless girl who roams the streets. Interesting. You've no idea what a burden he was. I know his type, stirring up trouble with nothing but a head full of steam to back it. Thanks for the assistance. My name's Annika Jonathan. Pleased to be acquainted. I'm Atticus Daly. That lout did show us how to make a living, but there was never any future for us, so I'm thinking of joining a circus that travels around Europe. I loved the circus when I was younger, snuck in through the back fence where the animals were kept. I'm not sure if I love it, but it seems to be a way out. A sadness in her voice, like a heavy rain at sea, damp and in the bones. What's your talent then? Throwing knives, where the will is spun and a living target is skillfully avoided. I practiced with Bertram until he disappeared. Now I don't know whether to look for him or leave the city. What about London? There's nothing here for me now. What is it you still need my help with? It's about Bertram. If he's alive, I'd like to say goodbye before I leave with the circus. Bertram, a close friend? My best in the city. If he's alive, I'd like to say goodbye before I leave with the circus. If you don't get to the bottom of it, you might regret it forever. Advice I should have taken myself. Wit. That's right. There was a woman once. When I was living in Galway, a harbor center on the west coast of Ireland. I don't know anything about this from playing out. Wow, it's so cool how different this is. The movie 30 Days of Night was shot in Alaska, and yes, it does get that cold. Wow, that's crazy. Alaska is nice. Only been during the time when the sun never sets, though. I've heard that cruises to Alaska are just absolutely beautiful and well worth going, so that's definitely something I plan to do. Animal instinct. No, it's too painful. Besides, the girl is starting to stare. Ooh, even less hope. Oh, but I've got a nice increase in hope, though, so I'm content now. Excellent. Sir, you were drifting off there. Only a momentary lapse, I assure you. Is there any chance you'd help me find Bertie? He went missing along with his sister, Julie. Bloody hell, why not? Oh, thank you, Mr. Daly. It isn't much, but take these cogs for your trouble. I'll see what I can find for myself, and then I'll meet with you and we can share information, like police specials. Bully, I'd make a fine detective. Bertram and I were living down here, but now the water's too high to get to our hidey hole. With so many of us going missing, I'd better move on anyway. What about the hidey hole? We had a little safe house behind the retaining wall, but now with the pump house being serviced, the water's too high to get there. I wish I could help, but I'm not much good with engineering. No worries, thanks anyway. You're still welcome to anything we left in there. How can I find you should we need to meet again? Give her your card to keep in touch. Take my visiting card in case you need to get in touch with me. I'm not often home, but you can leave a message with Anselina in the shop below my quarters. Of course, Mr. Daly. Together, I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of this. Wow. Totally different from what I experienced before. Super cool. Somebody had a bottle back here. Looks like a nostrum. I've only been to Chicago a couple of times. When we were in it, we ran out of luck. We actually traveled more to St. Louis or Terrence, Indiana. Whenever we need to get to an actual city, 60 or 90 miles versus 200 for Chicago. Yep, not there's any comparison in size. Awesome. Yeah, I've had to travel to Indiana a few times, but I've never really been able to hang out in St. Louis. Heard great things about their barbecue, though. I'd really like to go sometime. Smells rather dangerous, at least to the inexperienced. Might be useful. You never know when you might want some gin. Locked door. A monstrous door of high carbon steel. No way through without a key or high explosive. Self-discipline. So this is the end of my underground railroad. Ooh, rivets. There's no way of getting through. I didn't realize I'd lose hope for that. Used euphemistically for Christ as a mild curse or expression of surprise. Crivens? No escape from the stranger this way. You'll need a key for the door. You have a key? I swear I clicked on you. So I know that guy doesn't have a key. Why does it not allow me to talk to you? What is the problem? And it's not a full conversation anyway. All right, so no choice but to go upstairs. One of the real memories of Chicago is a visit when I was 12 or so, and I learned the Windy City's nickname was super accurate. Yep, the Windy City. Well, it was a street I couldn't get down when I sprinted because of wind knockback. Yep, that's the way it is out here. You learn to love it. There was no escape in the sewers, only more danger you've narrowly dodged. But it's nothing so ghastly as what might become of you at the hands of the stranger. You hardly ever see a handheld firearm in the docklands. That means he's come from afar to track you down, and he won't give up easily. And what of this old crone mumbling in your mind? Will another gin slumber put a seal on her words, or is she now more than a figment? If she is in step with your pulse and your heartbeat, so deeply rooted, you might never escape her raspy chattering. By the break of morning, you should have some answers, but until then, you stumble on the cobbles, half woken, the hangover clawing your skull like a prisoner in bondage. Whoa. Right back where I started. No choice. He's waiting with a cold stare and a hand on his flintlock. All done mucking about down there? About time. How'd he know that? This ridiculous sandhog uniform, no doubt. How do you like the finery? It might have served you down there, but it's not permissible where we're going. Does he ever lighten up? Right then, you ruddy sight. Let's get going. We'll need you batting on a full wicket. Full capacity. Shall I let him ragdoll me around East London? Sprightness. Not a chance. Ooh, succeeded. With my stature, I should get the best of him. Ooh, and it shows him in the proper uniform too. That's cool. Still, it's a question of speed and dexterity. I take a big swing at him, but he dodges deftly. Even so, I make a pass at his handgun, but he swats me away like I was a child and kills some of my hope. You can't shake me off. I'm not one of your debts. A soldier's cold and steely gaze. He must have seen combat. Scores of bodies like I can't imagine. It's a Richter's curse. The blood is hardly pumping in my veins as the fight leaves my body. Fine then, I'll go along willingly. But if I'm to meet my end, please spare me the pain of it. Please, come on now, you're a Minotaur. Shouldn't be saying things like that. I'm glad we understand each other. Wit, where are you taking me? Somewhere you'll be more comfortable. I had to roll just to get that statement. I'd rather not suffer any more than I have to, but at some point, you'll tell me what you're planning. There's no time for dawdling. Bell in, he hasn't any conscience. If it seems like London left you behind, humor me for the evening. Otherwise, I'll deliver the bounty on your head, and I won't have wasted any time. Yeah, when the wind is so fierce that reaches the next intersection because of the athletic event. Damn, dramatic confrontation, though. Yeah, how much you outmass him did make that hard to believe. Yeah, so, you know, combat, it doesn't always work out in a satisfactory way. And that's why I said it's cool playing as the Minotaur from a race standpoint, but it doesn't quite give me that race feeling, right? Because I'm not able to use my size to just intimidate and kind of overpower the majority of the people that I meet. It only works in like a few select cases. Most of the time, you really need to just talk your way out of things. But from a narrative standpoint, it's still really cool, right? So that's why I still enjoy playing the game. Your headache rages with a fierce second wind, and every step is a hammer and nail in your psyche. The stranger's reckless pace only makes matters worse, his arms like a vice grip, dragging you down a maze of twisted alleyways, until at last a string of paper lanterns appears, boils in a sickening sea of light, the cherry glow of Red Lantern Lane. Within waves of jasmine and sandalwood incense, memory washes fear away. This might be the only place that could convince you to keep on living, even just for a night. The gas mantle above the door fills you with fondness, cleansing the rust of your mind, gouging hangover. You've arrived at the Red Lotus Den, the only place you've ever felt at home. No need to be pulled along now. You go inside willingly. So, the first time I played this game, I completely skipped the door with the padlock on it, so I missed everything that was in the source, that whole interaction, because I didn't want to run from the confrontation. I was like, nah, I'm a Minotaur. I'm going to go over to this mad stranger, knock some sense into him, and make him tell me what I want to know. But, of course, that didn't work out, and then it pulled me straight into this next section, so I missed all the stuff that we just did. Really, really cool stuff. This actually makes me want to play through the game again, to be honest with you. J-La, what's going on? Bell End is a British insult. It's a reference to male parts, like the D word, but not as vulgar. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, cool. Thank you. Axe, what's going on? How are you? Hey, yo, Slander, I came across your channel because of Wrath of the Righteous. I want to say thank you, sir. Your guides are much appreciated. Thank you so much. Glad you've been enjoying them, and glad you hopefully have enjoyed some of the other content on the channel as well. Good to see you on the stream. Happy now? Body aches and a deep uncertainty in the bones. It's hard to be happy like this. Allow me to rephrase. Have you ever been happy? Here we go again, self-reliant. Animal instinct. Can't say that I have, but I've gotten close to it here. Withdrawals. They can muddle our heads and make us weak. Don't worry, you'll feel better soon. Maybe because I had that drink, maybe if I had refused all drinks, it would have given me that trait. I don't know. Towels and bathrobes disarrayed in cubbies. Illusionists, away from prying eyes. A fine place for a change of appearance. Let's see, what to do. Self-discipline, illusionist. Cast your illusion. Yep, man's a good dude. Chill, easygoing, friendly person combined with a pretty sharp and slight mind for the announcement. Thank you, Wanderlust. I appreciate it, man. I try to give people the kind of content I hope that they'll enjoy. Sight from the fire, hearing from the aether, smell from the air, taste from the water, touch down to the earth. in another form. Huh, I lost hope for doing that. I don't know why. Let's play it safe for the time being. No need for any confrontation. Ooh, look at that. Huh. That's interesting. But wait, what kind of creature is he supposed to be? Because that's not supposed to be, I don't think it's supposed to be human. What is that? Interesting. A steaming bath awaits your tired bones. Wouldn't it be good to get cleaned up? Take a bath. Plus 10 hope. How about not smelling like vomit and cane rats? We shan't offend the ladies. Is that supposed to be a man? I would assume no, right? Because of the ears. So I don't know what he's supposed to be. Certainly not a minotaur, but not human either. That's interesting. But something he felt sure would be accepted. A brass linteled mahogany bar lined with candles, casting eerie shadows on the centaur behind it. His equine muck sweats cuts through the smell of incense. Careful there. Centaurs are known to have short fuses, especially at long hours in service occupations. Self-discipline. Some centaurs have been kind to me. I won't pass judgment until he proves me wrong. How about Mr. Browncoat? He's rather unique. Aye, Bixby Browncoat, the owner here at the Lotus. Most nights he's waiting at the bar, so I hope he hasn't taken ill. What is it? Wit is what we want. Not exactly wit. Maybe if I wait around, Bixby will show up. But he could have gone a while. Must be the press of business drawing him away from the front of the house. The centaur leers, his misshapen chin a shelf for his cigarette, jutting from a jangle of bad teeth. Didn't see you come in. How can I help? Entrance to the Lotus, please. I have to check the list. And where did Bixby say it was? Okay, first time I did this, I didn't have Illusionist. So I had to go in as a Minotaur. The bouncer, the centaur bouncer, extremely racist towards Minotaurs. We ended up getting into a brawl in order to, and Bixby came out because he heard the ruckus. I put this dude to shame. And and then I made it clear to Bixby about the way he treated me, and then Bixby put him to shame as well. So that was a very interesting experience. But because I have this illusion, we skipped all that. Interesting stuff. No, plenty of gaming content people who have the charisma but not the brain for it. No, plenty have the brains but not the charisma. So I really do thank you for the average, man. Thank you. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Appreciate the feedback. It's I go through a lot of imposter syndrome having this channel, wondering whether or not I'm actually good enough for what I want to do. So it's nice to hear sometimes that you all feel like, hey, you do consistently provide us with the kind of content we want to see. Thank you, man. Greg's seconded as fuck. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate all the support. Is this an Outcat game? Kind of looks the same, like the same art. Nope. This is from, I think their name is Crimson Herring. Herring. I think this is their first game, in fact. Very indie studio. First game. They really, really want to do a sequel. And so that's part of the reason also that I'm live streaming this, giving it more coverage. Hopefully more people become interested in it. I'm definitely going to do a review on it as well. Not sure if I'll do a whole lot of content on it beyond that. And I'm not sure if we're going to do a full playthrough of this on the channel, but I thought it was definitely absolutely well worth covering. Right, Crimson Herring Studios. Yep. No other titles by them listed on Steam. Exactly. Thank you, Estelle. I appreciate you. Glad you all have been enjoying your time here. I'm going to try to keep it up for sure. He wears a long-faced countenance, a gold pocket watch, and a lavender-tinted pin's knees on his aquiline nose. Despite his careful preening, the turbulence of a life lived in the margins shows on his face. Now, here's Atticus. Ooh, he recognizes me. And see, again, everybody's got their own portrait, and the way your portrait changes as well. I think this stuff is really, really cool. Only thing I don't like is the portraits are always in this little small box. That's one thing I like about Owlcat games, where they have a little small box for your conversations, but you can go into the character profile and see kind of a blown out version of the art. And oftentimes you can see aspects of the art that you can't see in the little box. And it'd be nice if they had like a glossary or something of all the different characters, and you could see the full art of all the characters as well. I think that'd be really nice, and the game doesn't have anything like that, as far as I can see at least. He's happy I've arrived in human form. Okay, so this is supposed to be a human, and he recognizes me in that form, although he knows it takes a lot of energy. All right. Sprightness, glad to see you, Bixby. Ooh, and my sprightness level increased. And you as well, Atticus. I'm glad to see you brought us a brand new customer. Now then, paradise awaits beyond the curtain. Wyvern, what's going on? How are you, man? Sovereign Syndicate, let's go. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. Have you gotten to play it at all, man? Anyway, approaching midnight, God. Should do tomorrow. Yep, so we can come and go lurk mode for your view problem. Appreciate it, Wanderlust. Take care, man. Have a good night. And in bed, but one that says some love. Thanks, Wyvern. Hope things are going well for you, dude. But I agree, Wanderlust. Thank you, Axe. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed the community so far. Welcome. Bixby ushers you through the door and leads the way down the back stairs, the stranger on your heels like a stubborn shadow. The Red Lotus is draped in a haze of pale smoke, dotted with flickering candles and incense glowing like cinders in the night. The smell of burning opium is dark and rich, like a batch of floral biscuits with a sharp afterbite. The pale red glow from the Chinese lanterns paints the space in perpetual twilight. It's easy to lose track of time within these walls, willing away your days in a blissful waking dream. You're sticking around and watching since I got no group therapy tomorrow. That's awesome, Estelle. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think I'm just going to watch your Let's Play of this game. Okay, sounds good, women. Sounds good. So are you still playing Baldur's Gate 3? What's that gear-clattering racket? A jet of steam cuts through the quiet of the den. Wit. What a curious machine. I wonder how it works. So in my first playthrough, I did Animal Instinct Intimidating, which I think like had me try to hit it or something, and then it ran off. We'll try something different. I wonder how it works. It's got an Arsenal heart drum. That's a top flight boiler. Ball and socket legs and pressurized feet. There's nothing run-of-the-mill about it. Sorry there. Didn't mean to startle you. Off it goes, heading for the private section. So it runs off regardless. And where'd that masked stranger get off to? Opiomaniac. A sleeping poppy head is draped over a mattress in the corner, drooling idly onto his shirt. Fancy that, an errant wallet is poking out of the corner of his slacks. It yearns to be free. His wrist right over it, though. This will be a risky lift. Sprightness, pick his pocket. Ooh! Roll to 2. Easy. I brush his wrist on the way in, but all he does is raise his hand slightly as though brushing away a fly. Not bad at all. Why did I think this be difficult? It would take London Bridge falling to wake him up. I had not thought Midnight Oil had undone so many. Nice. Forgot it even though I failed the roll. Still playing Baldur's Gate 3, Rogue Trader, and Daggerfall Unity at the moment. Daggerfall Unity. What's that? Alright, I think I'll go to bed. Good luck. Take care, Nagrak. I don't think I even noticed that you were on the stream. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good night. How do you feel about Rogue Trader now? Still a good game, or does something shine wear out for you? Still a good game. Still enjoying it. I haven't gotten to play it for the last couple of weeks. I've kind of been away from the channel. I haven't dropped any new videos or anything, so I'm just getting back to the swing of things. But my opinion of it hasn't really changed. I know that there are definitely still some serious bugs that they need to squash out, and so in the playthrough I'm going through right now, we'll see if those come up again or if most of them have been smoothed out. But yeah, I still definitely highly regard the game. I don't like it as much as Wrath of the Righteous, but I definitely feel like it's worth playing in its own right. Sticks of heady incense waft in the air, always burning, no matter the flow of customers. Oh, modded version to Dragonfall. Oh, got you. Poppyhead is way too cute of a word for a heroin addict. I want to be a Poppyhead. I'll send you some info on Daggerfall Unity on Discord. Yeah, it's iconic cRPG for the night. It's the second game in the Elder Scrolls series. Oh, okay, interesting. I never played it. I wouldn't want to be a Poppyhead. People can easily nip my funds. This is a good call out. The floor pit has benches with tufted upholstery and pillows costing a half penny an hour. Normally, a pillow and a pipe sit is more than enough to fit my fancy, and I sit here to save money, buying a half bowl at a time. Two workmen, blissfully free of the waking world, and when they wake, I should hope they'll be refreshed. A little more hope. Awesome. A sturdy yet musty old bookshelf. The spines show such titles as Arcane Magic on the Eastern Edge of Ruin, Opium Through the Ages, and Parlor Games, Love in the Dreamtime. Evening, stranger. The dwarf has a warm and amiable look, with a set of crystal blue eyes, sharply intelligent, and a red mustache that is so full it could crawl off his face and build a cocoon. His beard is elegantly braided in the common style. I finger the brass rings in my own goatee, which is coarse and stringy by comparison. How'd you do? Wit. Just fine. Some kind of inventor, are you? Aye, name's Theodore Redgrave, Brotherhood of Boffins. But call me Teddy, most people do. Wit. Boffins, eh? Oh yes, the Royal Society funds all kinds of industrial research nowadays. There's a brotherhood for every branch of science. But I'm with the DA, Division for Automatons. Sprightness. Your automaton, has it got a name? This here's Otto. Perfectly friendly he is, if a little odd. Stands to reason, though, who among us isn't a little odd? Hey, self-discipline increased to 20. That's nice. Struth, if I've heard it. What do I call you, sir? Atticus Daly. Teddy passed the automaton with his fat paw. Mr. Daly, from the both of us, it's a pleasure. Otto's gonna need some tweaks before the brawls, but we'll have him fit as a fiddle by then. Otto's a brawler, eh? So far, he's only watched from the sidelines, but someday he'll fight with the other battle traps. No emotion from the automaton, of course, but one can't help but wonder how it feels about this. See, I'm under a fell beast and monster. After the werewolf fights, these outlaw wretches are all tatterdemalion, much easier to take in for a bounty. Only 3 days ere the moon is full-bellied. Better have a good mind to who you're betting on. Sprightness. That's quite an occupation. Must never be a dull moment. That's true. I just knew you were a man of culture. That's on top of having the kind of stature I look for in a cub, eager to be in my docket while partaking in pit fights. A fetching offer, though I don't want to commit just yet. Besides, the stranger wouldn't want me to be led astray by such endeavors. He strikes me as the kind of fellow who'd cross oceans and deserts while giving chase to his quarry. Wait a moment. If I had a little scrap to sell, would you be interested? And sure, those cogs are worth a bit of sterling. Sell the cogs you collected. I'm ready to make a deal on these cogs. Pleasure doing business. Take care, Teddy. All right. If you want to be an old player of Elder Scrolls, try Arena. Arena for Elder Scrolls? Take care, Wyvern. Have a good one. My grass England failing me here. What does nip my funds mean? Nip my funds is a metaphor, so try to take my money without my knowledge. Another gentle customer on a journey to the land of Nod. Another chicken asking to get plucked. Perhaps I have a riffle through his pockets. Spryness, pick his pockets. There we go. And the fingers go a-walking. He shivers in his slumber and half turns over. A close thing. But that's what makes it thrilling. About 5 shillings I fished out of his blindfold. Not bad for a minute's work. All right, private booth. Lattice wooden screens and high back seating provide some comfort and privacy for those that can afford it. The booths are made of a luxurious calf leather. Calf leather? My poor brothers and sisters, skin for a creature comfort. The leather is well oiled and plush with dimpled riveting. Delicate china and exclusive menus of the den's offerings are available here for those of a more discerning taste. Seems I'm in for a treat on account of the stranger's pocketbook, as fat as a Christmas goose. Nice lantern, everyone else. I'm off to attempt sleep. Don't pick my pockets, please. Night kid. Take care, man. Skyrim Thief at his fight is here. You know it. Let's make the most of it then. Surely you didn't bring me here for the elevated conversation and pleasure of my company. Better be on my guard. Self-discipline. He could have already killed me and collected on my bounty, but he didn't. I guess I should hear him out. It's worth seeing what he's after. Aha! She's still chiming in as if she has some kind of preferential status. Let's get on with this. The menu is embossed with an array of oral morphines, liquid and powder cocaines, and all manner of midnight oil. Teddy seems an interesting chap, and the automaton is quite something, isn't it? Bugger the small talk. Why did you bring me here? We've got plenty of time for explanations. Why don't we start with a sample of some of the den's wares? Now we're talking. Perhaps this fellow's not so bad after all. With so many dear poisonous variations, it's hard to decide what will hit the spot. I must say, I'm impressed with your discretion. I would have thought just any fix would do. Thanks, I suppose, but I know it's not from the kindness of your heart. We'll see if you sing the same tune when it's said and done. Now then, while you think about the entree, I'll prepare the appetizer. He takes a small tablet out of his shirt sleeve, cracks it in half, and drops it in my teacup. The other half goes into his own. You can't expect me to drink that. Half and half, an equal dose. I wouldn't kill us both, now would I? Self-discipline. Turn it down. Even so, I'll pass. Heh, not your cup of tea? How about some white wind elation? You must be fond of that one. His lighthearted confidence seems like a front. I get the feeling he knows you better than he's letting on. Would somebody please shut her up? This bloody stranger's already enough trouble. Enough of this facade. Not only do you pick my local place, but you pretend to suggest my favorite blend like it was a lucky guess. I know a little something about you, it's true, but it's part and parcel to my profession. I keep tabs on people who pique my interest. What is your profession exactly? Let's say I look after Her Majesty's interests with great vigor when they align with my own. At first, his cryptic speech was alluring, but now it's plainly an annoyance. How have you been tracking me? Hey, I'm listening to 11. That's not all that much, but still. It wasn't all that difficult. You only have a few haunts. On with it then. You've tried my patience long enough. Very well. I already know of your life as a roughneck and a panhandling mage, but what about before that? What about the Sacred Heart? Be honest. It was where I grew up before I looted the nun's coffer and took to the streets. I gathered as much. What I'm not sure about is your parents. Retrospective. Don't have that, okay? All I really have are guesses. Ooh. And now I have retrospective. The ways in which the mechanisms of fate turn can be perplexing, but to the keen eye, they may offer the means to shape the world. It will give us unique dialogue options. My mother likely gave me up because she couldn't pay my keep. And I suppose my father either died or walked out on us. So the sisters never told you anything about your parents. I can't say for sure, but it's too bloody unpleasant to think about. If the memory's there, we can call it back gently. This fellow's lost his mind. Something's occurred at the Sacred Heart that you've forgotten. With the help of an opium dream, you might recall the details that would lead to your mother. Lead me to a gravesite, you mean? What would that accomplish? On the contrary, I believe she's alive. Her name came up on a ledger at Bethnal House. I've seen my share of swindlers, but this takes the cake. Just humor me for a moment. Matilda is, of course, her given name. How about her family name? I don't think the sisters at the orphanage ever told me what it was. But if you could recall Matilda's family name, and it is on record at the orphanage and matches the ledger at Bethnal House, you could prove her identity at the hospital, and by claiming kinship, set her free. That means digging up memories at the Sacred Heart. Not exactly how I thought the night would unfold. I'm sure if my mother's alive, she's forgotten me. I don't mean to sway your opinion, but unless you could think back to those troubling times, then you won't be worth more than the price on your head. A bounty I'm assuming you'd be happy to collect. That's right. Albeit less desirable, it's another way to ensure that I won't have wasted my time. He's offered me a chance to live, but only if I can draw up those memories. So, what'll it be? The dream dose and a voyage between the banks of memory, or the death dose and the end of all your days? You do have the option to take the death dose if your hope is significantly lower. Interesting. Take the dream dose. You take the stranger's offer, eager to lose touch with harsh reality and for a chance to recall everything that could lead to your mother's whereabouts. Shortly after drifting away from consciousness, you find yourself being enveloped by a miasma of repressed memories, the stranger's recent inquiries reminding you of growing up in the Sacred Heart orphanage. Auntie Emma's warm embrace suddenly morphs into chilly restraints as remembrances of dooryard scuffles with bellicose orphans resurface. It's as if life's refusing to allow you to seek refuge from tangible hardships, no matter how potent your drug of choice for escapism is. This place, it's surely a dream, but it's all too familiar. You must find out what the stranger is seeking in your memories. The courtyard is nothing but hard-packed sand and scruffy grass. Helois watches over the children at play. Boss Page, what's going on, Matt? How are you? By this time, you were big enough to give as good as you got, and the ones who wouldn't fight you insulted you when abandoned. As the others adapted, I became more isolated. I often thought of running away. Atticus, you'll be 12 years old in a week's time. There's something I need to tell you. What's the difference? I'm getting out of here as soon as I can. Now, Atticus, let's hear what she has to say. It's about your mother. I should have told you sooner, but I didn't know how. I'm sorry, Atticus. I wish I'd been more brave. At least you're telling me now, before I quit this place. Oh, wow. What's going on, Shannon? How are you? Spitfire, what's up? X, Beast Dog. I'm going to assume that Wolfheart sent you all. And, yep, Blackheart, you just confirmed it. What's going on, you all? Tony, how are you? Welcome. Hope the Wolfheart stream went well. From what I saw, it seems like the restart of Honor Mode was going splendidly. Amazu, what's going on? How are you? Brown Pounder, what's going on? Appreciate you stopping by. Elf, what's going on? Always good to see you, Shannon. Always good to see you. He did, Shannon. That's fantastic. Wishing him a fantastic run that completes properly this time. Hopefully, hopefully. Godzilla, what's going on, man? How are you? That's awesome. As always, Wolfheart, man, I really appreciate you. Really appreciate you. What's going on, Chubba? He almost TPK'd on the owlbear. Oh, snap. Let's avoid that. Come on now. You coasted through almost all the bosses on that first run. Let's do the same thing and then finally finish it off with the final boss. Oh, Wiver, you're still around. What's going on, man? Auto Mode Part 3, let's go. Well, don't call out my fail. Not everyone knows. No, everybody, if you haven't already, you should absolutely go to Wolfheart's channel. He's got a video up detailing his first honor mode run. It's absolutely hilarious. And as someone who does content, I would definitely say he did a fantastic job editing it and making it very, very entertaining to see the entire run. So I would highly, highly recommend anyone who enjoys Baldur's Gate 3 content to go ahead and check it out. It was really, really awesome stuff. Wolf narrowly missed the TPK. That's crazy. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. What's going on, Jason? What's going on, Meredy? Glad you're able to stop by. He did it at level 3. Oh, okay. He didn't fail, he succeeded. That's good. That would have been an ugly way to end it, especially considering he got to all the way to the end the first time. That's awesome. I'll just figuring stuff out for BG3 on my palette and hit a speed bump with coding prompt for multi-class with Cleric. Yeah, I'm going to have to get back into Baldur's Gate 3. Watching Wolfheart's stream is getting me interested again. Just in bed listening to your stream. That's awesome, Wiver. We all know Wolfheart. He knows. Wow. Most epic playthrough at BG3 ever. Absolutely. Nobody does Baldur's Gate 3 content like Wolfheart. Absolutely nobody. Narrowly is putting it lightly. That's awesome. I'm really, really going to have to see it. Because in honor mode, something special happens in the owlbear fight, right? Like, I think he said something like 2 of them come out or something crazy. So I guess you weren't as prepared as you were the first time around, which is crazy because you didn't even know that would happen the first time around. I'm currently watching an ultra modded witch build in Baldur's Gate 3. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll go back to Baldur's Gate 3, but play around with some of the mods and cool things you can do. Because I didn't play with mods at all during my first couple of runs. Currently 1 HP left on Gale and a burning hand scroll. He was down to nothing. Wow, that's crazy. But you pulled it out. Look at you. The mate pops in. Really? You know, I don't play games for challenge, so usually I ignore like highest difficulty, honor mode, all that kind of stuff. But considering that honor mode like changes the game and makes some of the fights different, that might be enough for me to decide, you know what, I'd like to give it a whirl. It was intense. That's awesome. Double bears. BG3 mods are great. I'm sure. Want to see a Death Knight build. Like I said, lucky. That's awesome. I have mods and some of them are so good. Must-haves. Especially mods that auto-sort your inventory stuff. Ooh, that's awesome. Okay, so some of the mods really help with the quality of life of the game. I'll definitely have to check that out. Oh, and I noticed several of you are subscribing. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoy all the content. There's a lot of similarities between the type of games that me and Wolfheart like doing. So hopefully you'll see some videos that you enjoy. The mods are usually really neat. That's awesome. Did you finish Tactician DOS 2 Slander? No, I didn't. I'm actually going to circle back to that. Did I get to Act 3? Either I'm in Act 3 or, you know what, I think I'm like right at the end of Act 2. But not quite at the last boss fight of Act 2. But I got that far, and then Baldur's Gate 3 was coming out. So I did a little bit of Baldur's Gate 3 early access streaming, and then I went straight into it when it launched, and I haven't circled back to that DOS 2 run yet. I never finished my Baldur's Gate 3 run either. So I've got like 2 or 3 live streams sitting out there that I really, really do plan to get back to, but I just haven't had an opportunity yet. Highly recommend Honor Mode. Does change the game and outcomes. Oh, really? It changes outcomes? That's interesting. I can't take Will seriously. Might make a Death Knight build if I don't go anywhere else where it passes. I'm trying to be very obvious. Interesting. No saves coming, so you're stuck with all the rolls and choices. Oh, so you have, right, because you only get that one save, so you got to just roll with it. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. He was mad. Plus, if you die in Honor Mode, it just becomes custom. I don't know if the bosses keep the special abilities, but at least it doesn't delete your game like some Iron Man modes. Oh, okay, that's nice at least. But wait, so if it doesn't delete your save, why did Wolf had to restart after he failed that last boss battle? Not exclusive content, but I got new ones for me. Nice. Okay. Honor Mode is a great addition. Yeah, it definitely seems like that. From everything I've heard about Honor Mode, like, people seem to feel like this really, really added something to the game, and they're really happy that Larian took this step. So I'm ecstatic for that. You know, I think the more content that game gets, the better. Obviously, it's one of the greatest cRPGs we've ever had. Yeah, so you got to be careful what you pick. Yeah, I think I am going to try it. I think I will end up giving it a whirl. I don't know if I'll do a live stream of it. Maybe. We'll see. I'm not good at this challenge games. You know, that's part of the reason I never do like the Elden Rings and stuff like that. I feel like it's just going to be watching me getting kicked around for a little while. But, you know, the channel might actually find that entertaining. So maybe I should give it a try. Yeah, so you got, he didn't. He chose to start a new game. Oh, so he didn't have to. But Wolfhardt's big on honor. So he's like, if I lost it, I got to go ahead and just restart. Got you. Okay. Oh, to get the golden. Oh, you won't get the golden dice. Oh, now if you choose honor mode, do you have to play on the hardest difficulty? Does it automatically make it like Tactician Plus or whatever? Or could you like do honor mode but play on the easiest difficulty if you wanted to? If you fail one time, you don't get the gold. If you fall one time, you don't get the gold dice reward. Got you. Because custom, you can't win the gold dice, get the achievement either. Oh, I see. So you die, you don't lose your save, but it's no longer honor mode difficulty, and consequently, you don't get the achievement or reward associated with honor mode. And Wolfhardt, of course, BG3 extraordinaire, he wants that golden dice, so he's like, nah, I definitely got to restart. It makes sense. It all makes sense. It does not count towards a win die scan. You can continue though. Got you. And counting automatic goes, so you have to stall. Got you. It's automatically more difficult. Yeah, it's the hardest. Interesting. Yes, and the bosses have new powers. See, this, you know, it's kind of exciting because this could really put builds to the test, right? Like this will really, really make you use everything that you have in your arsenal. And I did like, in fact, no, I didn't do half of the game. I did a full tactician run. And there were a couple of points where I was like, man, it's kind of difficult. But for the most part, I was like, this ain't really that big of a deal. So maybe that honor mode run would be the one where I'm really like, okay, this might be a little bit problematic. Now it's high difficulty. It's Tactician Plus, but more like on Tactician, just no save scum. The bosses all have legendary actions, which aren't part of the other difficulties. Yeah, I think single save without the hardest difficulty is a good way for a lot of people to go. It's gonna make you min-max a lot more. So when they released honor mode, were there also a lot of has the game been significantly rebalanced in any sort of way since it first came out? Like, are there any abilities or things you could do at first that like really are not helpful or not useful anymore? Did it force people to have to kind of change their builds? I'm wondering if a lot of the builds that are out, that came out when the game first released, are they still useful for honor mode, or is all of that stuff kind of no longer relevant? You ready for honor mode, Slater? Let's go. Don't try to jazz me up, Wolfhard, but I actually am considering it. Watching you and seeing all that stuff, It's making me give serious consideration to jumping into that honor mode thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, it'll make you min-max more, including everything you have learned plus new mechanics. People are cheesing with radiant damage. The harder difficulties make radiant damage suicide. Really? Why? Because yeah, in fact, I like having a light-based cleric during my run, just because I love paladins and radiant damage and all that kind of stuff. Also, but paladins aren't really all that useful when you have higher damage situations. I didn't even use alchemy and tactician, but seemed a must for honor. I'm sure you can handle it. Oh, for sure. But those are hot fixes more than anything. Okay, interesting. Now, I'll watch your honor mode if you end up streaming it. Okay. A Wolf and Slander run, yes, together. See, but if we did it together and then I ended up messing up his damn honor run, I'd feel so bad. I wouldn't be able to show my face on the live stream again. I would feel terrible if that happened. There's some nerfs in honor, like Warlock extra attacks not stacking with other classes extra attacks. And haste was nerfed. Interesting. Okay, I seem to remember I used haste quite a bit, but a few patches have changed some things specifically in honor mode. Items in shops are a lot more expensive in honor mode too. Have to pickpocket shopkeepers. Ooh, that's something I do heavily endorse to that I completely ignored in Baldur's Gate 3. I never pickpocket people in Baldur's Gate 3, but maybe honor mode would force me to do it. I'd be raging, slandered, raging and unsub. Exactly. Exactly. And, I attend his live streams all the time. Every time I make a comment and bring up the rage all over again, it'd be like, slandered, what you doing here? You done already messed up my honor mode stream already. You go ahead and get all them bad vibes about my chat. Pallies are still strong. Okay, they are still strong. Most major enemies get Radiant Reprisal. Oh, which inflicts like ×4 damage per point of radiant damage you do to them. That easily results in death. Most major enemies. Interesting. Okay. Radiant Retort. Pallies are still strong. Most pick class in the game. But so they're strong, but you don't want to have a whole party full of paladins, I guess. And then you will want to use paladins maybe to get rid of the smaller enemies and then leave the tough bosses for some sort of other character. Okay. Not bad. You should know Wolf don't run that way. I know, Shannon. I know. I'm just messing with him. Mad at people and stuff like that. No. I know Wolf way too well. Way too well. Haste is still good though. Gotta throw it out there though. Interesting. What's going on, Terry? Open Hand Monk, Battlemaster, Gloomstalker Rogue. Gloomstalker Rogue. In my tactician run, I had Astarion doing that Gloomstalker Rogue, and I combined it with something else. I don't remember what it was. Woo! I love that. I would love to do that run again. Man, that was fun. So that's two classes I know I'm going to do. I know I'm going to have a Gloomstalker, and I know I'm going to have a Paladin. I'll have to figure out what the other two are, but those are two I'll definitely want to have. Clerics are a waste of a spot, in my opinion. Yeah, I was thinking if I had Shadowheart again, I'd probably make her a Bard. It kind of felt like Bard would be a better way to use the spot than a Cleric, but maybe not. We'll see. I don't bother in BG3. Too many successful picks, only to then be discovered. Seems like a D&D and high offense is the best defense. Yep, I agree. That's the way I go for. Take care, Shannon. Glad you're able to stop by. Appreciate you. Clerics can shine the right moment and be very strong, especially against undead. Yep, that's true. And Tempest Domain is very strong. Yeah, the game is saying diversify your damage. Know your enemies. Do research the whole D&D experience or die. Interesting. That is so interesting. I might have to jump into that. That interests me a great deal. It actually makes it seem like it might be fun. So, man, work comes all too soon. Take care, Terry. Glad you're able to stop by, man. Have a good one. Gloomstalker plus Assassin levels, and it's awesome. Also, take care, Mary D. Have a good one. Legendary resistances also make control spells a lot less useful since you have to burn through that to actually cripple the bosses. I also have a cleric in full party, but I did duo a lot in Act 3 with a sorcerer, warlock, and gloomstalker assassin. You know, that's what I missed. In my last run, I was evil, so I didn't have Gale. And none of my party members were like mage casting sorcerers or wizards. So I haven't really had that playthrough, whereas I all out full spell casting type of character. Think maybe that's what I'll do for this new run. I haven't had a playthrough where I was a full bomber, like I could just throw out fireballs and whatever else I wanted to ad nauseum. And I see so many clips. In fact, I think Wolfheart was doing this as well. I've seen so many people who use a lot of summoning, like they have a bunch of zombies traveling around with them at all times. I never did that. I never played with any of the summoning classes either. So I think I want both. I think I'm gonna have a bomber, a summoner, a paladin, and a the stealth assassin type character. I might need like a bard or a cleric somewhere in there. But you know what? The more I'm thinking about it, I think this could be fun. I think I might try to do it. Balls are much harder to honor. Yep, it seems like that. Fine with Shadowheart being a cleric, but better for her to be a life cleric so you have a healer rather than a trickster. Oh yeah, trickster. I switched over to light, but trickster definitely is a no-go. I just discovered how mage sorcerers are. Oh yeah, they're incredible. Mages are very OP. Twin chain lightning is so disgusting. Summoning is OP times 4 your party size. Okay. Yep. I think on this next run I'm gonna have Gale throw Gale back in there. For sure. Sorcerer is my favorite class. Yeah, maybe I'll have Gale be the wizard focused on summoning and have him throw all the summons about. And then my main character will either be a sorcerer, so he could be a bomber, or go the druid route. You know what? The druid thing I wanted to do, though, was also summoner. I wanted to be like the acid summoner or whatever weird thing it is that druid has that seems so interesting. But I'm thinking maybe I'll just be a sorcerer instead and be focused on the bombing. Because I really wanted to do like a red sorcerer, like red dragon blood sorcerer, and then focus on fire damage. I felt like that would be really, really cool. Very niche and the weakest of the bunch. Yep, summoner and bomber can be the same if you build it right. Oh, really? So Gale could fill in both? Huh. If you do Gale's story right, he could become a god. It's true. It's true. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. I could just flat out play as Gale. Because I never actually did that run, to be honest with you. You all have me thinking. I might actually have to give Baldur's Gate 3 another run. I might have to do that. Even though we never finished our first run, which I'm sure irritated a lot of people to begin with. But I'm just no longer interested in that run. It just doesn't interest me at all. Sorcerers enhance and change how your magic works. Wizards can learn the whole suite of magic schools. That's the key difference. Spore Druid, that's what I was thinking of. Yep. Boss Pay's like, I'm thinking about how sorcerers can increase the damage of my fire spells. I love being the type of mage that could just throw out fireballs and melt entire groups of enemies. And so that really, really appeals to me. See, the thing is, I wanted to do a community BG3 run, but it wouldn't be an honor mode because a bunch of people would end up screwing up my playthrough. We know what's going to happen. If I just let people come in, they're not going to be ready for honor mode. We going to fail on our first attempt. I wonder how Scordadian or Bardadian work. It'll give me the opportunity to play around with different builds. I've never had a monk either. That's a thought. I've also watched an ultra-modded Golden Dragon Bloodline sorcerer run. Been epic to see your sorcerer transform into a golden dragon. Holy smokes, that sounds awesome. Yeah, I need to try Spore Druid. It looks cool. We would all die. You know it. Exactly. Exactly. That's my only hesitation. 2 Paladin, 10 Sorcerer, or Bard is a great combo. Or 5 and 7. All right. I think I'll have to spend the the course of this week looking at some different builds, and then maybe I'm gonna have to give it a go, because you know what, it does sound like a lot of fun. It does sound like a lot of fun. I feel like Summoner isn't really a class, more like a wizard, druid, or bard using some spells. Unless you're necromancer, there aren't many non-item based summons, so you could be a bomber and a summoner. See, I never paid much attention to necromancer as a class, so I wasn't sure if in order to be an effective summoner, you really needed to go the necromancer route. My honor party had an open hand monk with Tavern Brawler. They are insane. That's right, that Tavern Brawler feat, which increases your unarmed damage, right? You know, I'm thinking, since I've already went the Gloomstalker route before, so maybe I should do something different for honor mode. But I also feel like, you know, because it's honor mode, it's going to be so much harder. I need to make sure I have that one class that I know is just absolutely going to tear people apart, because the other stuff is going to be things that I haven't played with before. But maybe I'll just go for it and be like, hey, all new things, all new things. My friend group is holding off till DLCs or full expansions. I could always run it back again after the DLC comes out. I'm not worried. I don't need to hold off. There's the modded Lilith race. You get to grow into stronger versions of the Lilith race. Open Hand Monk is probably the most powerful class in the game. I made Shadowheart my monk. Really? Why do you feel like it's the most powerful class in the game? True, lots of items with summon spells attached. Okay, so when you're playing as a summoner, it's not really about being a necromancer and your specific spells. It's about some of the add-ons that you get that just allow you to throw out summons that serve as fodder, that distract the enemies. Is that basically what it's like? You don't have to craft your whole build around being a summoner. Not really. Necromancer just became the only summoning class left after the nerfs and older editions. The summoning spells are slowly coming back though. Druid has the most, along with Cleric and Necromancer. Gloomstalker is good, even going full 12 levels since you reroll 1 miss per round at 11. Illithid. I understood what you meant, Estelle. I got you. Yep. Monk is crazy OP right now. Open hand Tavern Brawler. Okay, and I've never played a monk before, so maybe now's the time. Yeah, summon for the right enemy is how they operate. What do you mean a summon for the right enemy? Because Tavern Brawler is broken, it destroys bounded accuracy. So Tavern Brawler is great in a way that they might be patching soon. Oh, good Lord. I actually need to get through this. Y'all done raided my channel and made me completely forget about the game that I was actually playing. By the way, this is Sovereign Syndicate. Just came out yesterday. Similar to Disco Elysium, for those of you who played that game. I've definitely been enjoying this. It's got some really cool, interesting stuff in it. I made Lae'zel my monk after seeing the Honor Guard on my first playthrough. She made a wonderful monk with some stat changes. Ooh, that makes sense, actually. That makes sense. Let me give you an example. Most DMs don't want to keep track of a druid who loves to summon 16 crabs. A necromancer who summons 8 skellies every battle. Lae'zel makes a good monk. We totally hijacked your stream. Nah, it's all good. I appreciate you all. Only you want to keep me. Someone necromancer, some skill. Okay. So you have to match it up properly. They chose not to patch it because it's fun. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So they'll probably keep it around for a while. I just want to make sure it's not all of a sudden going to get patched in the middle of my playthrough and screw me over. Because I've actually really wanted to do a good guy run in Baldur's Gate 3, another good guy run, as the Dark Urge. I still haven't done good guy Dark Urge yet, and I keep hearing that that's actually the best way to play the game. Every enemy has certain weaknesses or don't have resistances to something your summon can do. There's a crack in the armor somewhere. Oh! Ooh. So these summons, they don't just run up to enemies and then just do a melee attack. Some of them have different powers or abilities that can use that line up with certain enemy weaknesses. Sorry, man. All these BG3 suggested probably too much info. No. It's not too much info. I've done 2 playthroughs of Baldur's Gate 3. I did a regular one that was just on normal, and then I did one that's on tactician. I just haven't played honor mode, so I'm following all this. I understand it. It's all good. I thought spore druids were OP due to the fact that you can unleash exploding spores that deal high-end area of effect damage. Really? So the spores you unleash can basically explode and devastate multiple enemies? Wow. Yep, they are special. Basically, enemies you can fight, and then you can go, oh, that's how I use the summon. Things a bit for honor mode damage-wise, but the accuracy is still there. Dark Urge is goated. Nope, it's not too much, Godzilla. I appreciate all this. You all have totally turned my head around about what I want to do. Because to be honest with you, I don't feel like I've really enjoyed this game, and I definitely wanted to give it some exposure, but I probably wouldn't do a full playthrough of it. I don't think it'd be good to stream a full playthrough. Some of the reasons for that, why will come out in the review. Again, I think it's highly worth playing, but much better probably to play than to watch somebody else play. I could go back to my Rogue Trader Hereticus playthrough, but I don't know. I'm kind of not feeling it. I think I've done so much content on that game that I'm kind of to the point I almost want to step away from it. So this is actually a really good time to probably switch back over to BG3. I'm to the point now where I'll be okay with that. Dark Urge is fun. Yeah, I did the evil version of Dark Urge, and I don't like the way the evil runs work in Baldur's Gate 3. So it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth and made me want to step away from the game. But it's been a couple of months now, so now I'm ready to circle back, and now I really want to do that good aligned Dark Urge run. You get different types of spores. Exploding, poisoning, and bleeding, if memory serves, as well as a debuffing spore. Oh, snap. Really? So you could align different spores based upon the type of enemy that you're facing and then set them up so that the rest of your allies will be able to do crazy amounts of damage. Yo, I think that's what I want to do. Whoa, you know what that makes me think of? Toxic Avenger. I could do a good guy Toxic Avenger run in Baldur's Gate 3 as a spore druid, and then have Gale and a couple of other goody two shoes, and we go through the game world. That actually appeals to me a great deal. Okay, yeah, this is definitely, maybe we'll start it sometime this weekend, but this is definitely something I want to do. Definitely something I want to do. Wow. Yeah, Dark Run, you're punished heavily. Yeah, I didn't, I enjoyed the Dark Urge storyline and the way it reveals more of the game world for you, but I didn't like the way Baldur's Gate 3 handled evil. That's something that I hope gets improved when they add more content. Word of heavily have done right. Yeah. All right, so I think that sells it. Spore Druid is something I definitely want. Oh, you know what? So if I'm going to play Dark Urge, who do I want to romance this time? I did Karlach the first time, and I think she's great, but I don't want to do a run of the exact same person. Toxic Avenger. You know what? I guess maybe we'll do the Lizelle, since I was romancer in the first one and we never finished that. Maybe, and we already mentioned Lizelle is perfect for a monk, right? So I could take Lizelle, instead of a warrior, make her a monk, give her that tavern brawler, and then Lizelle could be the one running around making mincemeat of everybody. And she's going to get access to some of that Gift Yankee unique equipment, which may or may not be great for monks. So all the way around, I enjoy that. And then I definitely want to have Gale, and as a druid, I'll be the summoner person, so I'll take care of that. So Gale can be my bomber even though I really prefer sorcerer instead of wizard for bombing. But you know what? I can always just respec him into a sorcerer anyway, and give her some of that, give him some of that red dragon blood, and let that be that. So the only thing is, who do I want the fourth one to be? I could make it a paladin, but my only question about that is, I feel like I'm running low on skills, right? I need somebody who's going to handle like the lock picking and some of the other things that I need to do. So I'm thinking I might actually bring Shadowheart along and make her a bard though, instead of a cleric. But I don't remember the skill breakdown in Baldur's Gate 3. I feel like I might be missing some really, really pertinent skills or cantrips if I do it that way. I'll have to look at that. I don't know if that team actually works. The psionic mushroom creatures love the spore druids if you help the good ruling sovereign, which I would plan to do, so absolutely, that works. Awesome. Minthara, now that she is fixed, you can get her now without losing people. Nah, I want Minthara on the evil run. One of these days I'll do an evil run again and I'll see the Minthara romance properly. I agree, I don't like the evil playthrough setup. You can recruit Minthara with a good playthrough. Now, I'll recruit her, but she's not going to be a main fixture in my run or a romance. Minthara was a fascinating character though. Absolutely, absolutely. I really liked her. Lae'zel usually my main squeeze. We got chemistry. I enjoyed Lae'zel, and I was romancing her with Shadowheart, and I felt like that was really cool. Yeah, Minthara, and very well written once you get to know her. Yep, apparently writers, though, the Withers ending is the best outcome ending. Respects are practically free. Yep, bard. What about making someone a bard for skill monkey? I have never looked at the bard specialization, so I don't know what you get for valor, but definitely I was thinking about having Shadowheart along and making her a bard for skills. But I don't remember if bard goes well with thief. Thief allows you to do an extra bonus action, right? And the bard has that special ability you can use as a bonus action, which can provide a buff or healing for one of your party members, right? So there could be some synergy there. Does honor mode change how resting works? Is it harder to rest, or do you get less rest when you're doing honor mode? I agree on only romancing her in the evil playthrough. Yep, exactly. I mean, swords, not valor. Is swords some sort of specialization for bard? Thief and bard is great. You get multiple skill expertise. Oh, right. You get skill expertise for that. Yeah, so you're basically an ultimate skill monkey, right? That makes sense. Sword or lore are the best in my opinion. Okay. Cost more camp supplies like tactician. Okay, that's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I'm not worried about that. Minthara as a vengeance leading to the Oathbreaker is epic. Yep, that's exactly what I did with her in my evil Dark Urge run. Sword bard, dual hand crossbow thief is great. Oh, I didn't even realize that. So you could do the whole dual crossbow thing with bard, and then you're combining thief with it, so you still get the double option. The only thing you're missing is the Gloomstalker automatically go invisible type thingamajig, but it can still be very, very nice. Just make sure to grab 2-weapon fighting for dual hand crossbow setup now. Long rest costs more on tactician and honor mode. 80 camp supplies instead of 40, but camp supplies were everywhere, so I don't think that's a big deal. Swords gets in battle buffs using bonus actions and bardic inspires plus spells like haste. I use them as a controller. So my spore druid can weaken enemies' defenses, and then my bard can make sure everybody's buffed up properly and working at their best, and then I can use my monk and my bomber to decimate the battlefield. I think this works. I think I like it. I think I like it quite a bit. I think this does exactly what I wanted to do. Exactly what I wanted to do. You know what? Instead of Gale, I do like the idea of a bomber, but I forgot how much I liked Will also with his Eldritch invocation. I wonder which is stronger. Probably having a sorcerer with red dragon blood who's using fire abilities like fireball to decimate multiple enemies, or building up Will the right way so that his Eldritch invocations are decimating single targets. Probably having Gale and going the sorcerer route, now that I'm thinking it through, but the Eldritch invocation part was really, really a lot of fun to use. Sneak attacks is not subject to any type of damage reduction or blockage. It's what makes Rogue so good. All right, and I'm going to have access to that regardless, so she'll be adding Thief. Okay. Slashing Flourish spins inspiration for double attacks, plus extra attacks at level 6 for Sword Bard. Ooh. Okay. But then she has to be melee then, right? So the double crossbows wouldn't work with that, I assume. Scourge, Aasimar Life Cleric is overpowered. Scourge, Aasimar race have divine elves that give a bonus to radiant damage. Scourge, Aasimar, that's not an option in Baldur's Gate 3, is it? I just made it to the 800-hour mark and Wrath of the Righteous. Nice, princess. I mean, I think I got like 3K hours, so you still, don't worry, you still got more time. You still got a ways to go. Keep at it. If dual wielding crossbows, two-weapon fighting is a good thing to have post-nerf. Without two-weapon fighting, your offhand attack is almost not worth it. Got you. Okay. Bard Lock or Sword Lock are great combos too. Okay. I have never looked at Bard Lock, but Sword Lock, absolutely. That's what I ran with Will. Oh, modded race. Okay. Modded race. I was about to say, I don't remember being able to use that in my original run. Makes sense. Okay. All right, y'all. Let me get back to this damn game so I can get through this, because I do have to work in the morning. I don't want to be up all night. Extra attacks works for double crossbows. I use it to still have the use for special arrows, but they can be melee or ranged. Oh, okay. So slashing flourish works with crossbows? Double crossbows still work. You can do ranged or melee. Nice. Okay. I'm going to have to look at the Bard specializations, because, yeah, I think that is definitely the route that I'm going to go. The day you arrived, there was a ring wrapped up in your blankets. You're old enough to have it now, and your mother left this too. Helios hands me an old piece of parchment, a note from my mother. Can you make out what it says? Self-discipline. No, there's no message. I can't produce the memory. The truth will come in time. I'm sorry I kept this from you for so long. Did she ever come back for me? She came back half a year later and insisted you were her child. She mentioned the note and knew the date we found you on the steps. But why didn't I go with her? Hush, Helios is coming to that. As your mother signed in at the registry, a horse and buggy drew up outside, and there was a terrible shout as someone bowled over the sister at the door. When this fellow burst in, your mother went stiff as a corpse. Could it have been my father? I don't know who he was, but he struck a panic in my heart. There was malice in his every step, a twitching, insidious man. He took your mother, and she never returned. I forgot about this day for good reason. Perhaps you were too young to hear the tale. Hearing this from Helios hardened me at the time, but it still didn't change the fact that I couldn't stand the Sacred Heart. After I fled the orphanage, I did search for my mother, until I decided there was nothing I could do. Perhaps not then, but this is now. The open arms of the angel were purely symbolic. I never had a home in this dreadful place. In truth, I spent most of my time traveling through fantasies, looking for a place to call my own. Never did I find it, though. Yeah, the sneak attack damage, people just drop like crazy. That's what I really enjoyed in my tactician run. I had Astarion running as a Gloomstalker, I was like, man, I should have had this in my first run. It was amazing. he he was absolutely the number one combatant on my whole team. Like every single fight just started with him bling bling somebody into oblivion. It was absolutely beautiful. Loved it. The bits of colored chalk were the most sought after. It's too bad they were so often wasted on crude drawings. See, you've recovered from your latest round of fisticuffs. Anything to say for yourself? Sometimes it's like I go blind for a few minutes, and when I wake up, I'm crying and cut up, and everyone's staring at me, laughing. You poor child. You suffered long enough. It's time you learned what your bloodline is capable of. Must be another ploy to get me to stay, but I'll be 13 in a few months, and then I'm running off for good. Being singled out as a minotaur, always having insults thrown at you, it's terrible. The bright spot is that you have the gift of magic, and you can develop your talents if you study the tarot. She fans out the colorful cards. They seem to buzz with an eerie electricity. Look closely at this card, the Magician, a symbol of new beginnings, one arm to the heavens and the other toward the earth. He is a conduit between the spiritual and material realms. The Magician transmutes potential energy from his ethereal state into perceptible forms. Can't say I buy it, but I'm listening. That's the spirit. Minotaurs are magical creatures, and like this Magician, you are a conduit. I committed the spell to memory long ago. I'll share it with you, but only with your promise of wholehearted trust. This game looks interesting. Yeah, I really I like it. It's very similar, as like I mentioned when a lot of you came in, it's very similar to Disco Elysium, if you ever played that, which is definitely, I feel, one of the best cRPGs ever. And so it's focused a lot on conversation and dialogue and character development and role playing as a specific character. Or in this case, you play as one of any three characters at any given point in the story. But I feel like the writing is really strong, the art, the world building. I like that there are a lot of interesting creatures in the world. So they have minotaurs, they have centaurs, they have cyclopses, and all of these are just regular people in this kind of world just walking around that you interact with. Really, really cool stuff. I definitely would love to see a sequel to this game. Like you said, probably better to play than to watch. Exactly. So this is the first time I've ever streamed it. I wanted to showcase it, and I'll do a review on it. And then, like I said, I probably won't try to do like a full live stream of it, because I don't think it's that type of game where you watch it. But I wanted people to get an idea of it, to say I could see, hey, this might be something worth me playing. Okay, Helios, I know you wouldn't lead me astray. I trust you. And I trust you, Atticus, because if my superior should learn of this, I would never wear the habit again. Now, this is a cantrip. You must speak it over and over until it is written across your mind in bold letters. Her voice drops to a strange, low whisper. Sight from the fire, hearing from the aether, smell from the air, and taste from the water. Touch down to the earth in another form. Aristotle defined 5 senses: sight, smell, touch, taste, and hearing, corresponding to the elements of fire, air, water, earth, and aether. I think I understand, except for that bit about aether. Aether is the energy propelling each heartbeat, the same material in the soul and the consciousness of all blooded creatures. Those with proper training can channel aether into the earthly sphere. Therein lies the power of the cantrip, the ability to transmute energy into matter. Aether is tied to hearing, so first you must learn to listen. You must hear the winds and the wiles of the heavens. I see the night is getting on. What about the rest? Try to remember. So just like in Disco Elysium or any typical D&D game, they have skills in here you can roll. Usually you would roll dice, but in this game, actually, they use cards, and it works in a very similar fashion. Good showcase. Thank you, Blackheart. I tried. I held my hands over the tarot cards, and we sat quietly until I heard a voice like an oral mirror, as if the words were backwards. Then I felt my lips moving, and when I opened my eyes, we were breathing the words of the cantrip in unison. The memory cuts to the quick, but at least it's still intact. Well done. Moving right along. Is it time to wake up? I dare say I'm ready for this to be over. All right, keep it moving. A teddy bear with a missing eye and matted mohair fur. It suffered the pitfalls of a rough life in the orphanage, just like the rest of us. This was my bed right next to Snyder, and here in the footlocker I kept a few trinkets. Worthless, the lot of them. These purple darlings brighten up the dreary place, pricked fresh from the schoolyard by Leo. When midnight strikes, I'll be 13 years of age. Father Franco keeps the orphanage funds in the private office. That's my ticket out of here. Ooh, failed to sneak. Right then, nothing to it. What are you up for? If you're looking for the nun's candy stash, you can forget it. Already checked. Ooh, intimidating. Scare him. You can go back to sleep on your own, or I can send you on your way with a solid knock on the head. What do you say? Actually, I am going back to sleep, but only because that's what I want to do anyway. Nice. Oh, that's cool. Awesome. Fury, what's going on, man? How are you? Hit a year of subscription 6 days ago. That's awesome, man. I appreciate all the support. Really, really appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much. There's enough here to get me started on my own. Pay dirt. I'll put 100 leagues between me and the Sacred Heart. What was that? Sounded like it came from the hallway. The house is roused. I better make my exit. Someone's coming. My only way out is through that window. Ooh, and my wit is increased. There's a voice in the corridor, then a pale shape that emerges from the shadows. Stealing this money, it hurt the Sacred Heart. We fell behind. We skipped over holidays and knitted clothes for the children. This memory has been twisted by the guilt you felt from it, taking a new shape to prevent this sort of behavior again. That's right, it didn't happen like this. She didn't catch me in the act. I'm sorry, Helios, but I had no other choice. There's always a choice, my child, and there's still a way to make it right. Normally, I'd say that drifting into deep sleep would be a merciful release from reliving such memories. Yet something compels me to push on, to be put through the ringer, to face that greatest of foes, myself. Brutal. When I was young, I thought that money was the most important thing in life. Now that I am old, I know that it is. Chapter 2. So that was all just chapter 1, and you got to meet Atticus, who was the Minotaur. So now we're in chapter 2, and you get to meet the human woman that you could play as, Claire Reed. I'm only going to do the beginning conversation, and then we'll end the stream. But I think going through this is giving you all a very, very good idea of what the game is like. So if that's the kind of thing that interests you, absolutely, I recommend picking it up. And like I said before, I do plan to do a full review of the game as well. Navigate London as a sharp and savvy courtesan, Clara Reed, before new crimes and the markers of her past catch up to her and tear her life apart. All right, so just like with Atticus, you get to choose an archetype at the beginning. So Claire uses her sharp wit and tact to navigate the perils of London's upper class, but she's haunted by the choices of her past. Will she let those choices hold her back or search for a better future? So the first option is intuition. Slander, you ever thought about at some point playing Disco Elysium on the channel? I did a review of Disco Elysium on the channel before. And you know what? I wouldn't mind doing a live stream of it. Wolfheart rated my live stream earlier, And a bunch of his people have convinced me to do an honor mode live stream of Baldur's Gate 3. So that'll probably be next up. But yeah, I'd absolutely be happy to live stream Disco Elysium. I think it was just an absolutely fantastic game. Oscar Wilde based quote. Yep, there's actually one at the beginning of every single chapter. There's 18 chapters in the game. It always starts with a different Oscar Wilde quote. I'm not familiar with him or his work, so I'm not sure why they decided to use his particular quotes in this game. Maybe he has some connection to London or something of that sort. I don't know. Maybe you do. If so, please let me know. So first option she has is intuition. She learned to hone her sharp intuition from a young age. One can really hope to survive or thrive in tenuous situations if they haven't learned to listen to their gut. So this is going to increase your starting attributes. You're going to get intuition, which is that nagging feeling or instinct in the back of your mind. She also gets more grace, which refers to her physical condition and her connection to social groups. And she gets a wee bit of intellect, right? And then she's also going to get the Emperor card, which gives her the stubborn trait. You never seem to stop, even if your aching mind and body employ you to do so. That's interesting. Now, she also has the Grace option. Quick on her feet, quick with her hands, and quick to laugh. These are tools that both disarm most conflicts and left Claire with enough pep and verve to want to keep moving forward. So she's going to get a huge amount of grace and a nice amount of intuition, but she's also going to get a little bit of tact, which allows her to navigate the social world smoothly, saying the right things, being the right person, and managing to offend only the right people. And this is going to give her determined. You spring into unremitting action as soon as the die is cast. Very interesting. Intellect, bookish and whip smart since childhood, she took comfort in spending long hours in pursuit of knowledge, a shield against the pressures of the world and a sword against those who sought to control her. So this is going to give her a massive increase to intellect, a good deal of tact, and it's going to give her a little bit of intuition, but she also gets polymath. Your knowledge spans a wide range of subjects, making your critical thinking unmatched. Very, very interesting. Looking forward to that honor mode run. Me too. You all have got me excited. Absolutely. Just watch the skit in BG3. If you do Great O1 Warlock with Freight and have the mummy summon, that deals tons of damage to enemies and more if they're frightened due to multi-attack. Really? That's interesting. That's an interesting combination. And I know the mummy summon that you're talking about. Huh. I'm going to have to look at some of my options. And then finally, you have tact. A social chameleon by necessity, Claire learned to say exactly what others needed to hear. The right words can topple kings, or at least keep you unperceived for another night. So this gives her a massive amount of tact, a little bit of intellect, and a tad bit of grace. And then she's also going to get chameleon. You can blend in with many social circles and find it easier to pretend to be what you're not. So I chose this during my first run with the game. Tact is awesome, intellect is awesome, so I was very cool with the starting attributes, but I felt like I almost never used chameleon. So I wasn't particularly impressed with this trait, whereas polymath came up multiple times, and I felt like there were a few where it wasn't an option and I would have liked it to be. So I think I'm going to go with intellect this time because it still gives me intellect and tact, just in the opposite, just on opposite numbers. And so it's still good increases for both. We're just missing grace, and I don't remember grace feeling like it was a particularly big deal. So I'm gonna go with that. Oscar Wilde was a pretty prolific writer. He wrote The Picture of Dorian Gray, for example. Interesting. Okay. Was he based in London? Revolutionary feats of engineering and shameless displays of wealth, a common sight in London, yet rarely does one come across that which combines technological prowess and financial abundance. Enter Silas's airship, its gilded frame and sheer size, literally and figuratively casting a deep shadow over the city slums and wealthy districts. Shafts of sunlight filter through windows that wrap around each of the airship's rooms, bathing them and their occupants in a warm glow. Pipes and polished wooden floors rumble to the spinning of the airship's propellers. You feel like you're standing within a slice of the future. Morning already? Can't stay here forever. I still have much to do before I leave London. Good thing Silas already delivered my payment. He was up before me. I wonder if he's still aboard the ship. Take in the atmosphere. A gentle hiss of steam and the churning of metal gears. Silas is in the office, tinkering with some task or another. Last night was no bed of roses, but it wasn't all bad. At least once I've quit London, I won't have to entertain Silas anymore. Is that you, sweet thing? Up at last, are we? Better get going. Too busy to lay abed. All right. And with that, Clara. Oh, actually, here. Before I leave, I'll give you all a glimpse of what Cyclopses look like in the game. This is the guy she was entertaining last night. It was a Cyclops. London 1800s. That's why they use him. This game is based heavily in London. Grade 01 is my favorite Warlock subclasses for Mortal Reminder. Those fear crits are great. The systems in Baldur's Gate 3 are so much fun to work with. That alone makes me really excited to get back into the game, even though I feel like I'm probably going to get destroyed. So, you all can see the little portrait there. He's got the one eye in the center of his forehead. I think he's the only well-to-do Cyclops you come around. But there are a ton of them in the game, a ton of centaurs, other minotaurs as well. Just a really, really cool world of different fantastical creatures that the Crimson Heron Studios has come up with. So definitely enjoyed this game, and I'm hoping that it'll do well enough where they'll be able to do a sequel and show us some different things that they weren't able to do for this first go round. But that is a conversation for another day. For now, I am just about at the end of my rope. I hope you all enjoyed the stream. I definitely plan to be back on soon. Like I said, we're not going to do a full playthrough of this game. I wanted to live stream once to show it to you all. But I'm probably going to look at some different builds, and then maybe we'll look at an honor mode run of Baldur's Gate 3. Should be interesting. But again, hope you had a nice time. See you all again soon, and hope you enjoy the stream. Take care. Take care, Boss Page. Have a good one, man. Very League of Destroy Day, gentlemen. Yep. I agree, Blackheart. Take care, man. What's going on, Destroyer? Sorry, you jumped in right when I'm about to jump off. But glad you stopped by, man. Take care. Take care, Estelle. Glad you're able to stop in. And glad you had a good time. Bye, Peace Dog. Take care. Thanks, Jason. Welcome to the channel, man. Glad you're able to stop by. Have a good one.